Hello, my dear ones. Oh, it's such a beautiful day. Rain and overcast. One of those all-day Midwestern days, I think. Like I remember in Indiana where it was cloudy all day, all week, all month. I remember one day when the sun came out, I thought I had died and went to heaven. Oh, I have a new stack. So we're going to start on the latest requests. But if I miss you, I apologize. It's just impossible for me to get all you guys. I'm trying, but I had a little setback, but everything's good. And I want to make sure you guys get your remedies, because there's no reason why any of you cannot get well. If you seem like you just can't get well no matter what you do, take a look at yourself. Start looking to see if there's anything that you're doing mentally or emotionally that's blocking your wellness. Because our minds are the most powerful tools we use in creation. That's what moves us, that's what creates, that's how duality is split, is through the causal mind. And minorly so, of course, in the universal, and etc., etc. But sometimes we have past lives for those that understand that side of it. We have other influences, family influences that we've hidden away, spousal abuses out there is all over the place. Condemnation of one in their efforts to be well. I see that all the time. Your mate condemns what you're doing. It's like, really? I mean, it's sad that kind of lack of love, or what we would call emotional pseudo-love, would exist out there, and it does. It's attachment. It's emotions. It deals with individuals' lack of understanding the self. A lot of people are scared to be alone. I knew a lady once that had a TV in every room. As soon as she got up, there was a TV in the bathroom, there was a TV in the kitchen. She could not stand to be alone. And those poor souls will be spinning a while, because that alone exists. You alone exist. You might have all kinds of things around you, but you alone exist. You hang out there in these universes alone. You start navigating by thought, and then when you take on an astral body, you start adding emotional moves to that. And then, of course, they made this more chemical realm to combination all of these things into a very more restricted channel. But take a look at that and see if there's anything there that could be involved in your inability. Because when you want to be well, it's time to relax. People are so uptight right now, and it's like, relax, relax, relax. Take a chill pill. Who's running the show? Not our politicians. Not even God's running the show, whether you believe it or not. But you have to understand, when the all individualizes. In consciousness, all things exist, so all things can manifest. All kinds of things can manifest, both positive and negative, because duality is essential. So you have both sides essential to the movement of anything, to activity. You have to have the autonomic nervous system. You have to have two sides to it. All right, let me see here. This is from Tracy McCord. Sorry to write again so soon. I know you are sure too super busy. I'm wondering if Dr. Morse might be able to make a special video for the YouTube title, Dear Friends and Family Members. Oh, all right, Tracy. What do you got here too? I was thinking about how hard my healing processes have been on my family, and I was wondering if Dr. Morse might make a video that people like me could ask their family members to watch, so that they could better understand what people who are... It's funny how I just kind of started talking kind of about that. Isn't that amazing? That's how we're all interconnected. We're so all interconnected. That's what is the joyous part of this, is that it's good to love every one of you guys. I just met a beautiful couple from Idaho, and the Washington area up there. Just beautiful. She's an out-of-body traveler, and they're heavy into the universe. They got me on the flatness of the worlds and stuff like that. But that's tough for men to understand sometimes, to get into those levels of talk. This might be able to reduce the fear and frustration of the people closest to the one healing so that they can better assist in the process. And if I were just talking, I was thinking Dr. Morse could address topics like the need for special foods and herbs, the need for support, the importance of helping them stay committed to their healing program, the need for positive messages, the need for healing, low-stress home environments, the understanding of healing reactions, the understanding of issues like thinness, the understanding of spiritual growth, the understanding of the need for the alone state. Yeah, man, Tracy, you're right on, baby. The understanding of personality shifts like quietness and introspection, the understanding of the linkness of the process, the understanding of the ebbs and flows of detox insofar as traveling coverage. I got that one. The understanding that people healing is in no way trying to offend, threaten, or reject them with their diet and lifestyle changes. The understanding that friends and family can choose to join the person healing or simply supportive observers. The understanding of how this process can significantly improve a person's health and well-being if they are properly nurtured doing it. The understanding that the emotional component of healing can hinder healing. That's what we were talking about. So it is important that the person going through detox heal these issues in addition to the physical ones. And last but not least, why this level of healing is so important and needed at this time in history. Oh, thanks, Tracy. Yeah.
An email from Jake Jesse's dad. He wants you to call him ASAP.
Who is it?
Jake Jesse that we just talked about.
Is he okay?
I don't know. Want me to get his dad on the phone and find out what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Get his dad on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The poor lad that we were talking to on the phone the other day on YouTube. Just poor guy is just, suffering horribly. Difficult when you burn your nervous system real bad in the gut, and then you struggle to breathe and can go through numerous anxieties and ups and downs. I mean, it's just horrible. It's horrible that this planet just can't bring out the love and understanding. And Tracy, you bring up an excellent point here. I've seen family members take their families into death. I remember one case where this female was from the East Coast. Raoul sent him over here. He was an educator at the Hippocrates, and he's seen what we can do versus the Hippocrates, so night and day. And so this lady had just a pea-sized tumor. I forget, 7 millimeters or something, real small, maybe even 5. I mean, just so small, size of a pea, basically. And they wanted to do chemotherapy on her and stuff. I'm going, what? You pop that out with Black Salmon, you're done. But man, if you can't get that out naturally, there's something wrong, because we get people get them out this big naturally. The right way, through the channel of the lymphatic system. And I didn't see her for a while. And her husband pushing her to do it. She's a beautiful woman, younger. Probably in the early 30s or something. The next thing I heard, Raoul said that she had died. She did chemo and all that and killed her. And that makes me sick to my stomach. Matter of fact, I didn't bring it. But I don't see my copy here. Science News. I tell you about Science News because I love those guys. That's some good. But a lot of the cancer most of the cancer studies that the AMA is even touting can't be replicated. The replicators cannot replicate these studies whatsoever, and so they're considering most of the cancer studies that have been done to this time, except for those done that show the side effects of this, are fake. So this is a real vital issue, and I love Science News for their honesty and integrity. You report what is there, and I am totally in line with this fake news crap. I watch all channels. I'm one of those guys that like to watch. I can read 4 newspapers at once. I like to know what's going on around, and I see the lies. You can see them all over the place, and it's like, sad stuff. When you're dealing in chemicals and you're dealing in processes and you're holding people's lives in your hand, you better be able to replicate it over and over and over again. I can replicate everything we do over and over and over. You guys have proved that over and over and over how simple this is. Because, like for your family stuff, this is so simple for them to understand. But you're running in a world of unconsciousness. And that's all it is. Your family members are unconscious. They've been brainwashed to think in certain ways. And here one comes in of a higher order. Maybe one of their children is of a higher consciousness. And they don't understand what that means. That means that soul that came in here was already evolved a little higher than the souls that are tricking right now on this planet. People don't realize, the parents just produce physical bodies for these giant beings that come in here. So when you have a little baby, you know that you're not talking to a little baby. I mean, you might have that soul might have a little body right now, but that soul can hear you from the highest levels. So I don't talk to babies or children as their children. I want to talk to the soul. You want to talk to that being that is occupying that body. And it behooves us all to start walking in loving, working with compassion, especially the ones we love. We must honor what our loved ones want to do, even though we don't understand it. I would say for those that have that conflict, you have to pull your family in and have a very simplistic talk about what you've learned. And also let them see this site and see the healings worldwide. Tens of thousands of you guys all over the place are getting your remedies finally. And they can go to the sites like the rawfig.coms, the Artie people, all the great people that are our teams all around the world, the LDs that are all over the place, setting up their accounts and setting up their hands out to help. We're all over the world. And pretty soon you guys will be responsible for changing the consciousness of the families and stuff and getting that, I understand that now. And you guys are laying the groundwork. I mean, the groundwork has been laid, there's no question in that way. I've been around for a few spins to do that. But it's time. It's time that we go out and turn on the light in the darkness. And that's just what this planet is to a lot of us. It's the darkness. And it's horrible to go to the darkness, but some of us have to go to the darkness and turn on the light switch. And that's what you beautiful beings out there are doing, is turning on the light switch. Because it's easy and should be easy for your loved ones and your family members. Now here's one of the problems with this, is that people get so sick that people don't understand why. And they go to one medical doctor after another medical doctor after another medical doctor, and they all say it's either in their head, can't find nothing, or this and this and this, autoimmune crap, and all this kind of crap because they don't understand how the body works. I told a surgeon the other day, you do not understand. You have to learn more how the body works. I understand how the body works. Oh, do you really? You wouldn't be an oncologist if you did. So that's part of the problem, a lack of understanding, one, how the body really works and what type of chemistry it must consume. You don't understand that. How can you call yourself a physician if you do not understand the chemistry of foods, the chemistry of your body, and how that interfaces? Because life is chemistry and physics. See, it's wrapped up in this pseudo concept of diseases, and that's what family members have to understand. There is a real cause for all these problems. And so you have one person in the house that is a little genetically weaker, genes from grandma, whoever popped over her, whatever. Their kidneys are down a little more than the rest of the family, and so they're getting a blowback sooner. And here's their family eating candy and steak and things like this, and they're trying to get tumors out, and the family's laughing at them. And I had one such case. And this case was a bad case. This is a big woman, very large breasts, and breast cancer. And she wanted to do it our way. Well, a couple things happened. First of all, her oncologist got so mad, he turned me into the state of Florida for treating cancer. And the letter he wrote to the state of Florida demeaned her so bad that the local newspaper, which was a friend of mine, published his letter. Well, that grew all kinds of crap, blew back his way negatively. And of course, the other problem was her family would eat candy bars in front of her, steak in front of her, and taunt her. That level of consciousness is a honey boo boo level, and that level is very difficult to talk to, very difficult to understand, because the level of awareness there is somewhat restrictive in understanding certain things. And so it's hard to talk to those type of family members. Sometimes you have to leave the family and go out and get your healing and then come back. I've seen it so bad, it's just people, I just horrible on the family member who's just finally found their remedy. You see, what family members have to understand, there's no remedy on this planet except for this level of understanding, because we address the cause of problems, not the symptoms of problems. Okay, is good?
Yep.
All right, good. Good. Man, I feel for some of you guys that are really suffering badly. And I'm going to tell you, you got my heart. You got the universe's heart. You got the big heart. But you hang in there, okay? But some families also members get burned out because one's been to one physician after one physician, even naturopath after naturopath with no remedy. Finally, they understand, but it's hard for the family members to understand. So that's why it's important to put some of these videos in front of your family, especially the lymphatic videos. Of the one system we all must learn on this planet now is the lymphatic system, and a little more involved in how we teach it. And now with Patty, the anatomy physiology professor, and since I've turned her attention a little differently, she now knows the pathway of how all this works, because she knows the body in-depthly. So when a medical doctor tells me they know the body, and I look at Pat, who is a professor of the body, I'm going, yeah, right. So, you know, that sort of thing. And that is like these cancer studies in Science News, can't be replicated. So a lot of the replicators are saying, you know, probably fake. And that's the very word they use. So get on that Science News. It's got neat stuff about the universe. They got neat things about the proteins and stuff. And when you understand how to look at their discoveries, you begin to have an aha moment in how it fits in what we're talking about and how it fits in with man's suffering. So interesting stuff. But Tracy, you're right on with that, and I was kind of trying to bring into that earlier how it is very difficult for family members to understand the suffering when you're not suffering. Look, I'm eating steak and I'm drinking Coke and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm feeling good. All I have to tell you, the cause and effect. These people are ready for the crash. That type of person goes along and has a massive heart attack and dies in the middle of nothing, like that Russian UN ambassador. Boom, down. But you look at him and you can see that he had cholesterol problems, he had poor circulation problems, and so he went down with probably a heart attack. Could have been killed, but probably with a heart attack. People get a little over thinking about things, you know, conspiracy type things, but you know, things are breaking apart right now, and I think it's important that it does. You know, this corruption. I think man has seen a corrupt government in America for so long that everything just has become corrupt. Cities, towns, just on and on and on. We feel like we live in a police state. I mean, all these things have come down here. And so it's just God shaking up its own creation so it can grow even more. And you guys are responsible for helping to shake up creation so it can grow even more. Because we have to grow. Humans are just kind of imploding right now. Now, there's some beautiful beings like the two I just met earlier. I don't do a lot of traveling. I was telling her I don't do a lot of conscious traveling too much. There's too many places that I'm working on, people and things like that. I just don't pay any attention to that. My forte is more beyond the mind, outside of creation, and if I can wake you guys up to that, then play as you will, but you'll be more conscious player in the realm of creation, and that makes you feel more free and happy and joyful. And it just, you know, a lot of times if you don't realize how much freedom you have lost on this planet, and that's one of the things we're trying to help you is understand how much freedom that governments and our societies and this whole social consciousness has taken away from you. So that's what's sprouting out, the need for inner freedom, the need to be free and express oneself. We should always honor our family members because they're on their own journey. Whether we have 4 or 5, 10 siblings, who cares? You know, a lot of the older Amish have baker dozens. So every one of those are individuals. And what we don't want to make everybody is the same. That's social consciousness. So everybody dresses the same, thinks the same, and that's the negative forces would love that because it's total control. And owe your soul to the company store, so to speak. So that's where you want to rejoice. And what we try to teach is your individuality. Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Jew, who cares what title you give yourself? You're an expression of God. People wear titles like badges, and it's like, we don't need no stinking badges. We're all free beings enjoying the planet. And so that's kind of the problem, is we've all taken on these identities, and we'll fight for this identity and this, and it's like, really? I mean, what for? Is that the drama? So that level of creation has to grow up, and a lot of you awakened beings, of course, are understanding that's your role, of course, and not just to go into your own cities and in your own protection, but to come out into the darkness and shine your light on. That's what's needed. That's why some of you will be put in situations like tough families and stuff like that, but it will develop your ability to articulate that which you're doing. And I know people get so sick, they're in pain, they don't want to, just leave me alone. And I know cases where the children have had so many problems, the parents are just kind of burnt out with all of it. I get that. But it's important for the families to understand that this planet offers no hope, and people are going to the wrong doctors for the wrong things. You go to a chiropractor, he isn't, a lot of them are learning detoxification, of course, and health and things like that, because these are part of the good guys, so to speak. But their role in their education deals with more the structure of the body and keeping the spine aligned, and now, of course, into the neurolymphatic points and stuff, and so their field is expanding. But when you want to get into the main reason man's spine is out, the main reason you need acupuncture, the main reason, that's where we are. We're naturopathy. Naturopathy, truly, and we'll just use that word, even coined by Benedict Less, but naturopathy is the science and practice of nature. Because nature is what everything comes out of. This desk, the computers, everything comes out of nature, even pharmaceuticals. The trouble is that when you take nature into levels of isolation and isolates, that you then lose the unique bonding and energetic purpose of that form. And now you're creating a chemical substance that you think is going to treat the symptom that you're looking at. The people that are working with our website and our clinics are those that don't want to treat symptoms anymore, because those people who treat symptoms never get cured. You never get cured. You can say I lived in remission for 5 years, 10 years, but you never get cured. And the fears and everything are already there and still there. You want the word cured. And if you want cured, you can't treat. You must understand that you have to address the cause. Well, the problem is a lack of the understanding of the great lymphatic system has left man with almost a void in understanding the totality of cause. And then this concept of diseases have totally isolated the public into any type of understanding of what might cause their problems, because diseases are too difficult for them to understand, like law books. You know, the law has its own language. The medical profession has its own language, and it's time that we break those bonds down, because it suits nobody but narcissism to do that. We need a common language. You know, even if it's foreign, it needs to be common, in that when we're talking about something, everybody gets what it means. So this illusionary concept of diseases has kept man fearful. You can't find a cure. What are you doing that? You have a disease. All this kind of crap like that. And it's time man takes the concept of diseases and throws them out the window and realizes there's a cause for an effect for every cause. And if you don't think you created your symptoms, think again. You're the one walking and breathing in these worlds of chemistry. You're eating it, you're breathing it, you're bathing in it. You swim in it, walk in it. There's nowhere you can be out of it. And if you can't understand how that chemistry is either making you healthy or breaking you down, then you're going to live in a world of unconsciousness, and in a world where no one understands what you're doing because they're unconscious. And so it's difficult to take an unconscious person and make them conscious if they're not ready for it. That's why those that come to our site are ready for whatever little tidbit they can get to help open them up. They're brought here. They're not ready for it. I've had people say, I saw your site five years ago, or I heard about you 10 years ago, but I just kind of put it away, but I'm ready now. That's okay. I call that the Johnny Appleseed effect. And a lot of you guys might not see the blowback from your message to the world, but be indeed assured that your message is being heard. Nothing goes out that doesn't come back, and nothing goes out that doesn't touch everything in one way or another. So, proud of you guys for that. Dealing in family members and friends, very difficult, because most of your family members and friends need to do exactly what you guys are doing, and they just don't know it yet. And the problem is there's a lot of people eat bad, and they don't have the kickback yet, for various reasons, but it will. It will. No one is free from this thing. And if you really got into people's lives and started interviewing them, you'll start finding they are suffering, but they don't put enough credence to the suffering yet. And so all these things are somewhat difficult. So all I know in dealing with families is you have to sit there and just be straight. Say, I know I've been through a lot of medical time. They don't understand what's causing this. I have now learned deeper about the human body and about what's causing this problem. What's the main system down in my body, and what side of chemistry. And talk a little bit about that. Talk about the acids of coke and things. That's why I've used this simplistic language. So you use the simplistic language to talk to and converse with your friends, because man doesn't understand much over 5 years old. That's where most advertising I heard is geared at, is a 5-year to 7-year-old label. It's like, oh. So, that's sad to think about if that was the case. But it's enough to say is that you are responsible for one person or whatever, and that's yourself. If you take on a domesticated animal, then you've got some more responsibility. But you are responsible for yourself and yourself only. And I'll say this to you that are trapped in family situations like that. Talk to the hand, the face isn't listening. You separate yourself emotionally from your family, because if you don't, they'll bring you down, unconsciously bring you down. And a lot of people, even your family members, can be vehicles for the negative forces and not realize it. They just not realize it. They condemn you, and that's negative. So a lot of people are vehicles for this negative energy right now. They don't realize it. Well, that keeps that person steeped in karma and the blowback on themselves. Because as soon as you set yourself up different from someone else and you ridicule someone else, your time's coming. That's what I'm saying. When you realize how it works, it changes the way you maneuver yourself and the way you express yourself, because you're the one going to get the blowback. So, and that includes the honey boo-boos of the world as well, and whoever level. The Soros and the world bankers and all of it, everybody's getting the blowback. And so you have to look, and it's hard for a narcissistic individual to realize they're narcissistic. They're lost in it. It's like I'm lost in my levels at some point. I keep wanting to awaken, and it's just you keep working on it, detach more, but things pull you in again. That's creation. It pulls you in, and you get in the drama again. Oh, dang, oh, shoot. Thought, the mind. So, Tracy, all these things, we talked about excessive thinness. So you have to get into the lymphatic system and explain this system. Flows all around all your cells, head to toe. And when it's stagnant in the GI tract, there's very little absorption available to the capillaries. And especially when mucoid plaque is building up on the wall from starch and white flour, difficult for those that have no clue about health to suddenly have an insight of the depth of what we speak about, because there is a lot to it. As simple as we've made it, it is a lot to it if you've never awakened to that. Some people still think milk is good for you. Some mothers still think they have to get their baby's milk. They still think about these fallacies that are out there. And that's because they bought into a medical world that has no clue about health. I have to tell you, there are some medical doctors very good and understand health, but they visited our sites. They've been to us. I've trained many, and they visited other sites, raw food sites, and people like that, not just us. Wolf sites, maybe even the Hippocrates sites and stuff like this, natural hygienic people. So, there's a lot of different levels out there. I took all these levels and sewed them up and give them back to you so you can see in a package that you can use to get well. There's bits of truth everywhere, but somebody's got to put it together for you. I mean, it's hard for people to put together bits and pieces of the mind. You got to be back away from it and go, okay, this fits here, this fits here, this fits here. And that's all we've done. It's all we've done. And you can't disprove it because everybody gets remedy when they do it. And that's the important part about this. Very few of you are not getting remedy. Some of you are struggling. I know some of you are doing the best you can. Steve, I know that you feel like a Fruit Loop, but you got to stay on fruits. When you deal with Parkinson's or MS or Lou Gehrig's, you deal with the neurological, you want to stay on fruits, berries, and melons as much as you can. And the other component to this for you guys that are in the chairs is realize that one of the reasons you're in the chairs is your endocrine gland system, particularly the adrenal glands. And that could give you an emotional components, anger too, all kinds of things about situations. Depression can set in on these guys and stuff and gals. You've just got to try to pull yourself above your physical things and keep going down that line because remedy is there. There is regeneration. I don't care how long you've been in a chair. I got regeneration with a guy in a chair 57 years. And that was a C4, C5 quad. And I think he's up there on one of our videos talking about regeneration and particularly his skeletal regeneration blew people away. Blew Fox News away. ABC News, I might have filmed that one too, but Fox News just went, whoa, because we have the x-rays to show how this man had extreme scoliosis to the right. His right femur had fractured 12 years earlier, and he had a big bulge in his upper femur, and his leg was 2 inches shorter. Overnight, his back pulled itself straight, and his leg pulled itself straight. And we have the x-rays to prove it. I mean, his body re-strengthened and strengthened itself on fruits, berries, melons, and he had occasional green drinks. Pretty impressive. I mean, I've seen things that I just go, I didn't even know the body could do that. But when you've seen enough of that, then you know immediately. Everyone can get their remedy. Some people are a little more genetically compromised. And we have to take that in consideration. Your loved one might have a lot more deeper genetic problems than you do, or a lot more lymphatic problems than you do. That's a big deal. Someone can get their remedy in a few months, while others might take a year or two. I can't control that. And you just keep working it and working it and working it, because the point is you will get remedy because you're making it happen. You're on the right side of chemistry. You're on the right side of everything. You're on the right side of magnetics. You're on the right side of everything. So eventually the consciousness will be reinstated. Everything will be redone. And it will follow that way. If you're so advanced that can't happen, then maybe it's time to let go and enjoy the ride, because, who cares? If your body's so bad, why do you want it? Your next bodies are going to be much greater, especially even if you move to the astral world. Oh, wow. Jensen communicated us that from that. It was like amazing, he said. Amazing when he translated over. He told Marie through a channel, he said, it's just like walking across the street. So it's important to understand, don't have no fear of nothing. You're going nowhere. Your body might leave you, but you're going nowhere. And don't have fear, because your spiritual guides and all of us are all around the universes. Come on. You're okay. So, if you want to live, you have to be strict. And when you realize that no animal cooks their food before they eat it, nobody processes their food in nature, and if you feed animals cooked foods, they will die or get the same diseases, quote unquote, you do. Same thing. Your dog will get the same problems you do if you feed him off the table. And when you change the diet, these things go away. I mean, come on. So it's important for people to realize, some people don't want to know. I love what I'm doing. I love mama's food. But in reality, the food might not be designed for your species. And it's just how man brought himself into the northern climates and then freaked out with survival needs. Because remember, man is a tropical species. He's an islander species. It's obvious. And you can't take an islander and put him up in Alaska. These guys are hardy as all get out. And yet you look at them, look at that Alaskians, that poor old guy, he can't hardly walk anymore. I think he's probably got bowel or liver cancer. I mean, he's done. And he just, so much protein, it's just acidified and broke him down. They don't get that. And that's the problem. Sad stuff. But you're living in a hostile environment to the Homo sapien species. Some of the good Alaskans, they got greenhouses like crazy. Look at the Alaska, the last frontier. They got a nice greenhouse. Even the bush people are starting this greenhouse thing. So everybody knows. I even heard Miss Bush talk about how important it was to have the vegetables in the diet because they're high meat. Well, look at her teeth, and not her youngest daughter, but the second daughter, her teeth, and parathyroid, a lack of calcium, heavy lymph, acidosis. And so you see that going down. He has seizures at times, so he's on anti-seizure medication. So you can see these people going down. You look at the sons and their states of health. So it's that sort of thing that your body is going to represent the chemistry you're consuming, period, end of story. If you eat acidically, your body will become acidic. End of story. I mean, that's just natural. If you eat healthy, your body will become healthy. Well, what's healthy? Healthy is raw living food, and for the Homo sapien, fruits, berries, and melons. We can handle our vegetables, but remember, we don't have the four stomachs of the cow. So anyway, that's what I would say with you, Tracy. Thank you. Matter of fact, we'll want to see you in here next week, dear. We're going to bring you in here. Tracy's working on a nice little project for us. That's exciting as all get out. I know. It's important that family members understand this. And this is just what I was talking about earlier. But the bottom line to this is your journey. And if you allow a family member or anybody to bring you down, shame on you. You can't do it. And the problem is when you don't feel good, you're at your weakest moment. You're in pain and suffering, and then your family members are giving you some crap. I mean, that's disgraceful. But it shows a lack of divine love. Because when someone's hurting, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. So who cares who it is? Sad stuff. Anyway, I have to go. I got to read this one. This is a testimonial. That's good. That reminds me. We want to do a documentary on this level of healing. And what some of you guys have achieved has just been staggering. And of course, we have a ton of clients from the past that have just achieved staggering results. That I do invite you to film your journey. We're going to be working with Discover Channel or our own channel. So we ask that you film your journey, talk about your journey, show people what you have to go through. The healing crisis. And that's another thing, Tracy, you mentioned, is the healing crisis. When you put foods in that causes all this mucus in your body, then this mucus has to come out. So you're going to be coughing up wads of mucus, your sinuses, your cold and flu, sweating, hopefully, all fevers, all the good things that allow your body to expectorate and eliminate. And you're doing it through proper hydration. Because most people's diets are dehydrating diets, acid-forming foods, which are these top 5 worst foods. These are all mucus-forming, acid-forming. And that's the bulk of what people are eating. See, so you can see that that's problematic. Anyway, I want to come back and address this, and I'll spend all afternoon with you and see how deep we can get in here. But I got to run. It seemed like I got here this morning. I wanted to film early, and then I had meeting here, meeting there, meeting this. So I'm trying, but I love you guys, and always stand up for yourself. I don't care how weak you feel you are. You're not weak. Your body might feel weak, but you're not weak. Remember where you come from. Each and every one of you are a divine expression of the infinite. Get to that. Power up with that, no matter how feeble your body is. Be strong in consciousness, not in thought, in awakeness. And that is beyond thought. So when you're sick, just relax and don't think. Thinking can take energy out of you. So you relax, smell flowers, find yourself gardens. Go to a garden and sit all day and let the sun bathe you and look at all the beauty and the animals and the flowers and the plants. Or come to Florida, go to Busch Gardens or Disney World or wherever that's full of that. SeaWorld has beautiful things there and all kinds. So I'll be back in shortly. Thank you. Made it back. All right. See what we got going here. Now this is pretty cool. This is from Barb. And it says, attached is my testimonial. Please feel free to use it as you like, in part or whole. I would prefer my last name not be mentioned. Good. I'm glad I didn't mention it. Oh. Thanks so much, Barb. Oh, I know where you live. Now this is neat. Healed what medical doctors call COPD/chronic asthma. Dear Dr. Morse, my name is Barb. I'm 60 years young and grateful to be enjoying life, changing health improvements, and deep healing by using your fabulous herbal protocols and eating 100% fruits, berries, and melons. That's pretty cool. I'm blessed to have healed what medical doctors labeled COPD/chronic asthma that started at age 29. Doctors prescribe steroids. Yeah, I know. Corticosteroids, horrible what they do to you guys, horrible. That I took daily for over 25 years. Some almost killed me, by inducing severe attacks. Oh my God. Tried many other modalities like acupuncture, Ayurvedic medicine, and different types of fasting with little remedy and certain never a cure. That's what I was talking about earlier. We want cures. We want cures. We want cures. We don't want treatment. We want cures. And so hopefully our group will be the premier group in helping this world find the cures, because you guys are just amazing. I knew it took some work, and I knew what this lady probably went through to get to that, and kudos a million times. Okay. See, at age 30, I was diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma and had a kidney removed. Oh. The surgeon recommended a vegetarian diet. Oh, nice surgeon. Whoa. A surgeon recommended a vegetarian diet to lessen my protein intake. Smart surgeon. See, I told you there are some great surgeons out there. You just got to find them. But man, good surgeon. Good surgeon. Wish he would have included dairy. I know. But at least he included the proteins. That was vital. Dairy, yeah, and he got that one, especially with COPD or asthma. Oh my God. That is like giving someone a little ticking time bomb. You recommend dairy products for someone with asthma, COPD, because it's not just the congestion. Remember that. Remember what COPD is, chronic obstructive pulmonary, what they call disease. But asthma is the beginning of that, emphysema, and then full-fledged COPD. When you see someone walking around a little O2 oxygen, that's COPD. It's a nightmare when you cannot breathe. No question about it. Or take a deep breath. That's freaky. And I had that for about 3 or 4 years with quinine poisoning. That's horrible. You go into panic attacks when you just can't take that deep breath. You feel like you can't breathe, but your O2 is fairly okay. Things are, but neurological. And a big part of that swapped right back at the kidneys, and they took out one of her kidneys and probably adrenal glands with it. That's neurotransmitters. Remember the other location? Solar plexus, or shall I say stomach. So you always work on your GI tract when you're going after something. Always. You know, wow. That change probably saved my, yeah, exactly. That change probably saved your other kidney, right on. So that surgeon was a good surgeon. But this is what you expect out of your physicians. You expect truth, honesty, but the problem is this: we live in a huge learning curve. There are just multiple states of consciousness that the humans can experience. And a lot of them doesn't allow for the overview of consciousness and things like that because it's designed to keep you here. Creation's designed to keep you in creation. You know, that old saying, as you wake up, is it better to know or is it better not to know? You know, there's some times you got to ask yourself, the better I didn't know anything about that. You know, but I've always come to the conclusion that it's always better to know, no matter how you have to take your medicine. I continue to search for a way to heal and be able to breathe freely without prescription drugs. Years were spent unable to move because I could not breathe, even with all those meds. Oh. There were ER trips and countless times I didn't expect to make it. Life was extremely limiting. I allowed myself to be constantly tested for renal cell cancer for 15 years. See, that's a lot of biopsies, probably. Oh, my God. I continued to ask God for a way to heal. And here's where it get good. Good. God always has a plan for each of us. Isn't that true? Absolutely. And you just have to, if you sit back and relax and watch the signs and listen. Remember I told you that don't always listen outside of yourself or externally. Try listen internally. And you will hear the music and the sounds associated with where your consciousness is. And also the voices come, your spiritual guides talk to you. But if you're too busy focused outwardly in your desires and your thoughts, it's hard to hear. But if you kick back and just watch your mind at work and guide it from a position of detachment, you will hear the messages and the conversations that go on. You have to distinguish where they're coming from. So thankful for your YouTube channel. Oh, thanks, honey. That's just what this channel's for. I love that, you know, because it makes me feel good, and I'm sure all the spiritual beings are smiling too at you, because that's the plan, you know, is to help those that are suffering overcome that and enjoy life again, and then go on with their journeys and stuff. Stagnation is where the humans are at, just like the lymph stagnation, and a lot of people are constipated, and it's just that whole field of obstructiveness to the flow of your divine energy. So remember, thoughts can be obstructive to the flow of energy, emotion can be obstructive to the flow of energy, and of course acids, mucus, all obstructive to the flow of energy. Well, whenever you obstruct the flow of energy, you're obstructing the flow of consciousness or awareness. You're obstructing the flow of vitality and rejuvenation. So it becomes obvious that by removing obstructions to the flow of energy, then you remove dis-ease. Interesting way of looking at it. I learned how to detox and let my body heal itself by watching all your wonderful teaching videos. Read and reread your book, read and reread your book, and took it to heart, not mind. Spiritual lady. Spiritual lady here. Good. Here's a spiritual lady right here. Got rid of medical thinking beliefs. Isn't it different when you suddenly lay that crap aside and you start looking at cause and effect? It really is spot on, because now you're not buying into the propaganda and the sales pitches and all this crap, even the naturopath supplements and crap. What's up with me? What's going on with me? How did my body get to this point? What's hurting it? Why? You know, so learning how the body works, great stuff, simple stuff. You guys are demonstrating the facts that you're just going right on and kicking butt. That's good stuff. Took about 1.5 years. Absolutely interesting. That long, huh? Of cleaning up. But when you went 23 years on steroids and stuff, man, your adrenals are down. And you know, the fallacy of this is that it brings your adrenal glands down even more, which you need, though, not only the steroids, but you need those neurotransmitters. So, bringing the adrenal glands down is never smart. Because what are they sitting on? The kidneys. And of course, what's the kidneys' master job? The sewer system, the lymphatic system, the part that evades medical thinking. And it's right in their face. You don't always have to have a surgeon find something or an A&P professor know something to know that it exists there. Because as Patty tells you, every day they're finding something new about the human body. And some of the stuff is, quite frankly, gets started as propaganda, even in that literature. Look at why we were talking about Science News earlier. Matter of fact, they were saying all of this studies that medical doctors are trying to go by in their cancer researches, they can't replicate. And I've said this before, you must be able to replicate. And so, of course, the other side saying, well, and trying to make up bullcrap stuff. It took about a year and a half from vegetarian to cooked vegan. It was easy to eat 100% raw fruits and fruit-type veggies, even when temps outside are -2 herein, and I won't mention where. I strictly followed your protocol with your herbs, eating 100% fruits, berries, melons, and getting my kidney to filter. Oh, dear one. And she only has one kidney. So kudos big time to this lady. And skin to sweat. Don't forget that vital part of it, sweating. And especially if you only have one kidney, you want to sweat your butt off. And that'll really open up, because we've seen through thermographies what it's like to sweat in locations where the lymph is still backed up, but where the lymph nodes are allowed to sweat. You don't see any redness, you don't see any heat or acid buildup around the lymph nodes. Cool stuff. But it just demonstrates the importance of sweating. And where medical doctors ever thought fevers were bad and stuff, it's like, holy crap. If you look at that whole level of thinking, it's oxymoron to nature. Nature, when one gets uncomfortable inside, is about elimination, fasting, detoxification. That's nature. That's just not us. It's nature's way of doing things. And of course, the consumption of botanicals. That's dogs hunt botanicals. You guys know that. Look at how the Hoxsey formula is put together. Remember that? The story of Hoxsey, who was a medical doctor, then he became a naturopath, and then he became a lawyer to protect himself. Poor guy. But, these are the real pioneers. And he got the old famous Hoxsey cancer formula through watching one of his racehorses who had a tumor eat out in the wild. He let him out in the wild, and he ate herbs, and the horse's tumor went away. And he created the Hoxsey formula out of an observation of what herbs the horse was eating. I think that story's pretty cool if it's true. And it's an old story, been around for a long time. All I have to say is good work. Just incredible work here. She did sauna, she did yoga, and all of your tips for healing. Thanks, sweetheart. Good job on yourself. Once I got my kidney filtering with your herbs and kept on herbs for about 3 months, I began to breathe freely and became completely prescription drug-free. There are so many other health issues that heal, as well as the emotional and spiritual benefits of this healing journey. Isn't that cool? That is cool. But you don't want to tell anybody too much about that. If you got people that don't want to grow spiritually, don't tell them that the raw foods will help them. Because it just comes with the thing. When you increase energy, you're increasing what? Consciousness. Go back to quantum physics. They have now proving that energy has intelligence. What? Wait a minute. Energy has intelligence? It begins to then define what spirit in Christianity is, what prana and the life force is in the Eastern thinking. You start to realize, wait a minute, is there anything unconscious or no awareness at all? Nope, nothing. Look at the amazing ability of bugs and the amazing ability of plants and the amazing ability of all life. Even gemstones and the power they have to heal. It's amazing. The Gifts of the Gemstone Guardians, came out, this channel that brought them out, had a nice course. I used to teach that course on gemstones, and I tell you, they're powerful. I was wanting at one time to add different gemstones to my herbal formulas, grind them up, and add them to the formulas, just for the power of the gemstone. But I got to thinking very, at one level, inorganic, at one level of thinking. So I wasn't sure, a simulation of that, digestion and stuff of inert chemistry is beyond difficult. But the frequency of it to increase. So you could wrap your herbs around gemstones, set your herbs in crystals and stuff. I want to get green bottles. These bottles are amber, but I wanted to get green because you shine. I used to grow my sprouts and everything in green bottles because you get the sun shining through green. It accentuates the healing power. And of course the chlorophyll and stuff. So I used to get my alfalfa sprouts, chlorophyll up to the max. Then I could pull mucus out. I couldn't pull mucus just eating alfalfa sprouts, but if I got that chlorophyll ramped up there through using green bottles and direct sun and kind of like a atrium type thing, woo! Oh, it's strong. So she healed a lot of things here. That's pretty cool. I'm able to do all the things in life I am passionate about, like gardening, dancing, singing. Now, see what I mean? Why do we have to think we have to suffer here for? We don't. And this beautiful soul is proving that we don't have to suffer. I can fix myself. As long as you give me the tools and I understand what's going on. And that's all I'm saying. Just understand what we're talking about. It's real simple. I don't think I've gotten too complex at all here for anybody. I hope I didn't. I've worked a lot of years to keep it simple. So I hope, we pick it up and then be able to convert it simplistically, because the worst thing you can do is talk over people's heads. It only serves you, and that doesn't serve you well. So I learned a long time ago, you might think I'm a simple person, but I work to be simple. I've got a mind, it loves science, it loves physics, it loves chemistry. My mind loves all that stuff. But I don't. And so I like to be free from that. There's too much, and it's unrelative, a lot of it, and you never use it. I mean, half of the stuff chemists never use, and you never use a lot of stuff here. It's nice to know stuff just for the fun of it and the expansion maybe of the intellect and stuff, but if you balance that with the expansion of consciousness, then everybody's in balance and it works better. If not, then you see what's going on. Wow, this is cool stuff. Still have a lot of work to do, and I've learned to read my own eyes. Said that I love right there. I mean, real kudos to Barb here, because, once you learn to read your own eyes, and it's not difficult, don't make it difficult. You can teach your children how to read eyes. These guys are souls, remember that. So I don't know how young, but you can teach your children at early ages how to read eyes and stuff. And what are you doing to these kids? You're setting up the next generation at a level this planet has never seen. How cool is that? Cool stuff, whether the earth is flat or round. For those of you that see it in another way. So good job here. Good job. I'm enjoying the process of detoxification and healing for the art it is, and trusting God's design and plan. It's just the nature and the way it is. You're just sitting back and allowing that life force to move through you. And what a healing energy. What's a stronger healing energy, the life force or the mental forces? The life force. I love being able to be of service, showing others through my own example of healing and thriving. And that is another thing. We were talking about earlier about loved ones and things. You're just going to have to get strong and show them that this works. Testimonials all over the place. But it's common sense. And when you introduce common sense to some people, they just, I don't know. No one's home. Because common sense is common sense. Common sense is truth. And it fits. Everything fits. It doesn't leave you with, but I don't get it. I don't know. No. It's not like a diseases where there's a mystery and no one knows the ominous of diseases, but you've got it. That was for the dark agey time when people wanted to have power over others. We don't need that in our world, do we? A big hug and love felt thing. Oh, you got it, sweetie. You got it in all ways. Deepest love. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Love you. We all love you. This has got to go in our book. Thanks, sweetie. Thanks for that. But we are, and for those that want to be put on a documentary talking about their cures and things, we're well welcome to it. No matter how hard your journey has been, the world needs to know just what it takes to get well. And some of you are going through hell to get well. And it's sad. But I can't find, I'm working on trying to find quicker, easier ways to help. And since Hildy brought a lot and changed my mind about dry fasting, that's one little piece of the puzzle. I don't like overdoing that as the master faster and things like that. My opinion on that, guys, again, is for you doing it, flip to raw grape juice. Raw. Too many. I'm getting too many negatives about the experience, and you want an experience to be enlightening and fun and feel good inside, and so you want the living, the powerful, the conscious, and that's in the plants without processing or cooking. That reminds me of the Budwick mixing oils with cottage cheese because of some biochemistry nut theory. Yeah, I've watched tumors grow with people consuming cottage cheese and oils. Thank you for your willingness to listen. Got it? My boyfriend and I are taking the herbs and learning from a lot of Dr. Morse's materials. Oh, thanks. You know, that's, I hope, because I've always been an educator. I've always in Eckankar was a teacher, and in Arahata, what they call a teacher, and then a modest, and you're going up into the priestcraft, and then you're going up from there. And so I've had a lot of years doing that, and teaching a lot of classes, and then I had the health on the side. Early years of health were up and down because I couldn't make it. I couldn't make any money. I was living in my offices a lot of times, renting old houses and turning a part of it into a center, which wasn't too good. And then I'd use my garage at one time. You know, so it's been a long road. But the nature of the beast, you know. You got to go into these places that are dark and bring them up. And that's part of what makes you guys masters materials. You know, you're going in and you're opening up and being the light and the way and showing that. So, you know who's going to use you, don't you? Absolutely. Absolutely. And the more you give, the more you get. Remember that. The more you give, the more you get. And there's no limit to that, to the point where, you know, you got to remember balance. I'm just talking to a young lad here. Beautiful soul. Beautiful, beautiful. Out on the beaches, really getting into the now, and just really beautiful souls. And that's, you know, take that time to do that. I was talking about the chakras and working on the chakras. A little hint, you guys. Don't have to do that. Start with the crown and go out. Don't go back down. Forget that. Start at the crown. Absolutely. You don't have to worry about the lower bodies. Get conscious. That'll take care of the lower bodies. If you try to work with the lower bodies, it can be very like a bad healing crisis. So you don't need to do that. Matter of fact, you are not a part of all that. That's creation and your bodies. Remember, you are not your bodies. You're the conscious being behind those eyes. Sometimes we get tripped up, you know. We really felt like some soreness in our neurolymphatic points. Ooh, yeah. But that could be good. And also, when you detoxify, if you have tumors, you could get pinprick pains in those tumors as they're breaking up. You can feel them, absolutely. As well as a spectrum of detox symptoms, absolutely. And the sad thing is, probably you younger guys are going to have worse symptoms that way because of the genetic weaknesses you guys have and of the heavy lymphatic systems you have. Some of these older people, they whiz through these things like, what? But I get why. And then when you look at your eyes, you're going, oh, you got the good genes and all that. Of course. And some of these older people were not heavy milk drinkers. Some of us were, you know, because we come out of farmland and stuff, but a lot of them were so smart, or their bodies just didn't want it. There's some of you guys that are so smart when you were born, you didn't want it. You didn't want any milk. I wasn't that smart. But then I needed to learn what it was all about, right? So then you get your butt kicked, and then you can talk about it, but you had to go through it yourself to talk about it. Because if you never went through it, how are you going to talk about it? I can't stand to hear someone talk about something they've never experienced. That's intellectualism. What does that get you? Ideas and opinions. Well, they're worth 10 cents. Not even that. So, you know, I love to listen to someone that's had experiences. Haven't you? You know, especially the spiritual ones. You know, how deep in the God worlds have you been? What have you seen? Oh, yeah. Some of these masters, like Shamus DeBreeze was Jonathan Rumi's master. Oh, that guy walks with power. I think the whole universe moves when he walks. But he educates in the way I like. So Twitchell gives an experience of him when he was in talking with, I think it was with Reb Zartarsh and one of the other masters, and they were in a bar having yak tea and that sort of thing, something healthy, so to speak. And in comes Shamus DeBreeze to the bar and orders some heavy drink or something, and it's like it messed with Twitchell's mind. He couldn't. But what he was doing the Zen thing, breaking up thought forms. Like I spent years in poverty consciousness, years in Jesus consciousness, thinking I needed to think poverty to be free. And that was another trap. You can't think wealth or poverty because both of them are traps. Anytime you set any markers out for yourself, you're trapped with those markers. So it's difficult to live at the level I'm talking about right now. And it's not necessary, but if you touch it and you tap it, you will know the doorway to your eternal freedom. And that's everything. I also have extended family who have been following, oh wow, for years, and they seem incredibly vibrant and healthy. But here's the however. There are a couple things that have us confused about these teachings on health. The only reason I bring this stuff up, no, bring it up. I'm like a Trump. If there's something you don't understand or like or what we're doing, bring it up. The lies, can't stand them. But you want to bring something up, absolutely. And if I can articulate it in any way, be happy too. Because this is us working together. And so, if I can be in any helpful to questions, absolutely. The best choice concerning how to move forward with our diets and our health choices. We really love Dr. Morse's protocol, but it's hard to ignore the information that is out there once we do just a little research. Okay. If you Google Brant Ridge Forest School, where Dr. Morse says he got his doctorate of biochemistry, no website for this school. It's probably gone by now. But I did pull my stuff here, and I pulled it because we're going to start our own naturopathic school. Brant Ridge School. This is Brant Ridge University. Had moved to New Orleans at one time, and they sent me this letter back in '91. So they had moved their school. I don't know if they'd moved their Sussex school, but who cares? I mean, who cares what education I have? Maybe if you care, it's part of your track, you know, because Brant Ridge Forest taught naturopathy. So look at all schools. Schools are started by somebody, right? And their academics are laid out by somebody, right? And you have some standards, but look at some of these wacky universities and what's going on now. Teaching post-electoral stress syndrome. I thought that was interesting, especially when this gentleman from Iraq had both legs blew off and talking about post-traumatic stress syndrome as opposed to post-election stress syndrome. And it's like, oh, are you kidding me? Sick. So who cares? It's what I know and what I learned through my practice through the years that matters. I mean, took it at an MD. You can name any school an MD went to school. Okay? Do the same thing to a medical doctor. What do they know and how can they help you? That's what's important about anybody. You can hit on people's education all you want. But they were a very good school in the earlier years. Matter of fact, a lot of natural hygienic people went to that school and then became directors of their fasting schools and stuff. So these are all good things. But who cares? They taught me natural chemistry or biochemistry and all this. No website for the school come up, and the first links you click on will talk about the institution being busted as a degree mill. I don't know about that. The YouTube is full of crap and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's been a lot of meals like that. Do you care? And if you do, why? I didn't care. I got what I needed out of school, and then I took it and I grew from there, and you got this information because of that. But this information, I've been lifetimes here, guys. You don't have a faintest clue how long I've been here and what I've been through to bring this to you today. Not even the faintest. So, this is true within it. Schools go and schools come. But European schools were better, I think, especially in the day about naturopathy. Pasteur was still here. Southwest was still here at that time as well, I believe. But they're too medical for me. I didn't want that kind of knowledge and information. I picked the school for the knowledge and information that was being taught. I liked, I think Cohen, I think his name was. He had 4 theses set up to graduate, and I liked that. I thought that was pretty good. You go to any medical school here, what do you learn? Nothing to help anybody get cured. So, this is sort of the problem out there, is people going after people's education now. Yeah, right. Who cares? Matter of fact, what if I had no doctorate degree at all? Matter of fact, do you want it? It's on the wall in there, take them. Who cares? Years ago, I was going to go to every school I could that I could get distance learning at, because when you're trying to survive out in the world, you can't always go full time to school, and that was the problem always with a lot of people. That's why you see Indiana University, you see all the big names now going to distant learning things, and we beat them there years ago, because not everybody can financially afford to go to these schools, and then half the people that go to these schools don't know how to cure anything, do they now? So you have to be careful how you approach things and stuff like that. All right? Now, likewise, other practitioners who obtained degrees at the Southern College of Naturopathic Medicine, where Dr. Morse got his doctorate in naturopathy, have been ordered to stop practicing in the school. Yeah, that was an honorary thing. Who cares? School has sued according to what comes up on Google. It's been claimed that the school was handing out diplomas for only 2 weeks of coursework. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about those sort of things, guys. For graduate degrees, if you take this much time worrying about this, then you need to check into all the healers that can't heal nothing, then ask yourself the same thing. Are you worried about that? Are you worried about what I was educated or what I know? That's your problem. We've also confused that there aren't many personal accounts of Dr. Morse's hard cases. What? People who have been quadriplegic with MS or Parkinson's, for example, we don't see anyone coming forward who had a supposed curable medical condition that is either saying that Dr. Morse's protocol made them really sick or that it healed them of their ailments. We find, well, come down to my office and we have testimonial books, pretty thick, and you're welcome to come read them. So if you're going to spout it from there, come to our office and take a look at what we have for you, okay? All right. We find this really weird. Do you really? I don't. And we don't know what to make of it. Well, I don't care what you make of it, to be honest with you. It seems odd given the intensity of the healing claims and the intensity of the diet. You haven't tried it on yourself, or you're sitting there intellectualizing this? Why don't you get off your intellectual horse and then try it on for size and see how it fits you? Or you could sit there and narcissistically intellectualize like this, because that's all you're doing. This is narcissism right out of there. Who cares? Now, when you wake up a little bit, you'll understand that people have been trained for generations and stuff. I mean, you have no idea here. Compared to the sad American diet, that there is no one stepping forward. They're stepping up all over the place, my dear one. You're not going to our websites or anything. See, this is the sort of bull crap that's out there. And people write these things like that. It's okay. But you have to understand, who cares where one gets their education? Matter of fact, how many medical doctors are killers out there that maybe just barely passed? Or they don't even know that their modality is the top killing machine on the planet. But they got their degrees from reputable universities that probably never gave honor. Oh, I see honorary degrees given by all kinds of universities and stuff to people that have no clue. We can't talk about them, can we? Oh, no. So the natural health field has been a difficult field to stay solvent. Because why? Because the narcissism of the medical field kept slamming us and trying to shut us down. People like yourselves, that sort of thing, who get out there and intellectualize, who never enter into the zone. Why don't you enter into the zone so then you can talk from experience instead of your narcissistic intellectualism? That's all that is. And try that. All right? Many people, many all over, and they're all testimonials are all over the place. We have books of them here. They're on websites all over the place, and then, like I said, we haven't made it active to pull people on this website, because you know what happens when you give testimonials on websites? But you don't know that, do you? Because you're sitting back in a position far, far away. You know, a lot of people were shut down by doing that. A lot of people went to jail for doing that. And I've tried to stay stable so you guys can get this message. And so now we're in a different position. We've learned a lot about law. I've had to go through that side of it and all of that. But wait a minute, I didn't go to school to become a lawyer. Damn, how can I say that? I guess I can't read and I can't study outside of a school, right? Can you? I don't think whoever wrote this can actually know anything until they go to school. How do you know what you know? Where'd you go to school at? Let me check out where you went to school. And what do you know? How do you know it? And how do you know it's true? I mean, that's the problem with these kind of people like that. My dear one, for years people have had this. We have plenty of tapes. We have plenty of things. They're all available. We have tapes here that you can buy. We have cancer tapes. We have spinal cord tapes. And yeah, I'd like to see a lot more of them out there too, myself. And any of you are welcome to send us a tape. We'll put them out there for yourselves. Or read your things. We don't care. Sometimes I get a little uneasy doing that because I'm not about narcissism like this person is. You know, and that's part of the problem. Sometimes your mind blocks you from seeing the truth. You're too worried about if someone got educated. It's like, if you don't think I'm educated, then why are you on my channel? And get off. If you don't think I have any brains or sensible consciousness, okay. You're at the wrong side. That's all it is. But I don't think too many of you think that. I can sit down with the best of them, right? Yeah. I just wanted to say thank you so much. I am constantly listening to Dr. Morse's YouTube videos as well as working with Roger at Harkin Herbs. I know Roger. He's a good guy. You know, Roger, he was FEMA man. He worked for FEMA, and then he came to work for us, which I don't blame him because, you know, when you get into these hurricanes and things, and poor Roger, he had to go in and assess and things like that. He was fairly high up. And he'd get into these meth houses and stuff that were blown over with tornadoes and stuff, and it's like dangerous stuff. He's told me a few experiences. It's just dangerous on these guys to go into these places. So it's, you know, there's all kinds of dangers out there in that. I need to write my story, but for now I am so amazed at results I am getting and got through the impossible. My EPIPEN expired in December. This is truly amazing. I have been connected to epinephrine since I was 5. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Well, see, that's the sad thing about that one too. These EpiPens and stuff like that. You can pull all these people out of this, and this person obviously has. Isn't that cool stuff? You know, when you get these kind of intellectual people that just they can't enter any experience because they're too busy full of themselves. You know, and it's like, this is cool stuff. He was on epinephrine since his 5 years of age, and I will be 56 young this year. Woohoo! Far surpassed what medical doctors thought I would live. And Maria, you are just going better, 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 better. You know, things just get better, 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 better. What school teaches this level out here on this planet? None of them. So where can you go to get educated with this? Only with us. And it works, doesn't it? All you guys that have gotten remedy all over the world like this. Maybe some people don't see them because we don't always read them. We don't get on them always. But we get them here. We get hundreds of emails every day. Hundreds of emails every day. Shannon's taking emails. Drew's taking emails. I mean, we got at least 4 people constantly dealing with emails. And the stories and the thank yous and the love, it just supports us, and we just give it back to you 100-fold in every way. So, good job, dear one. Good job on yourself. And that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be hooked to EpiPens, to inhalers, to any of these things like that. Remember which system is down in you. And of course, that's going to kick back with the nervous system too. So you're going to always work with that too, enhancing neurotransmitters out of the adrenal glands. Where do you learn all this in school? Medical doctors don't learn this in school. Could they be going to bad schools? Just realize the world is always unconscious at one level or another. And the sad thing is these people like that are unconscious, and that they like to pull that out there and they show it to the world how unconscious they are. Willing to sit over here and go, well, we're weird. Don't you think that's weird? But you never tried the programs. Try them, and then if you don't do well and you feel sick on them and you give it an honest try and you didn't get your attitude and ego in the way, then we'll talk. But good job. Ooh, this is good job. Good job. Yep. Roger comes in here about every other day or so. I'll give him a big hug for you. This is from Benny. Benny, you know what? I haven't heard the name Benny in a long time. You know, that's an old name, isn't it? It is around here. Thank you, Dr. Morse, for answering our questions. How do you feel about root canals? Do you have an alternative? You know, the root canal thing, we're just talking about that because someone asked the front up there whether they preferred dentures or implants. If you have to have your whole mouth done and you're that bad lymphatically in the mouth, you know, you want to work on pulling this stuff. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I'll find my other Home Depot card and give it to you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I just gotta get more bulbs. I took whatever Home Depot.
Do I have to get tongue and groove stuff yet?
Yeah, but I can do that tomorrow.
I don't need this till tomorrow.
Okay. I'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't need this tonight. Thanks, son. Yeah. Good job. But if you have to have a whole mouth implanted, I wouldn't do that. I would go to dentures and have them implanted in places. So I don't know how many implants, 6 or something like that, 8 maybe tops. But if you go having every tooth with an implant, that's a nightmare from hell. Root canals. The big thing about root canals, particularly in the States, is what they were impacting them with. And the chemicals that they were packing them with went ahead and destroyed the whole tooth. Since the tooth is nothing but cells, all tissues are cells, right? It destroyed the cells, so these root canals were destroying the whole tooth and everything else, and so you eventually had to have those removed. This idea that other than that toxic chemistry, the idea that root canals are somehow the problem, it's the lymphatic system that's a problem in the first place. And we showed you that tooth yesterday that an individual got rid of that big cavity on their tooth. Yeah. I mean, because you have the same thing going, except when you get into the denser areas of teeth and bone, you got real squeakier pathways of lymph and blood, real squeaky. But you always have to get lymph and blood to tissue. Always to cells. There has to be a way that a cell can get fed and discharge waste. Just common. Like you always have to have a way to consume something, and you always have to eliminate waste, like it or not. Now, breatharianism, I don't know, I never achieved it, to see just how much elimination is shut down if there's no consumption. A lot of breatharians consume something. But to me, a true breatharian would be only water. So I don't know. I don't think that's a worthy level to achieve at this point. I think if you can achieve a fruit, berry, and melon level and sustain that for any time, you're good. I'm telling you. I hadn't been able to sustain it that long without going nuts, but then I already deal with energy. So energy on top of energy on top of energy on top of energy. You know what I mean? But you're well welcome here. But I would do a root canal before an implant any day of the week. Because when they're drilling a screw into your bone, you still got titanium, it's still metal into your bone. And it's just like, you know, but you got to fix the problem. I'd rather do a root canal, go and start using Heal-All-T and stuff and start moving my lymph, getting my lymph nodes cleared up, kidneys filtering, and clean up the mouth that way. And then you've really saved your bone and everything. That would be smarter. My opinion. And I've been in the dentist chair for a lot of years, unfortunately. My family, dairy products. William. Hey, William. Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill. Dr. Morse, I love watching your videos. Thank you. Thank you, my dear one. Can you please tell us a great herb book? That's a good question. That is a good question. How expensive you want to go? I mean, you've got the American Botanical Association. I've got a lot of their great books, but they're like $400 or $500 a book. You know, they get into the chemistry of it. You know what? We don't use that, but it's good stuff. It's good for the mind, but I never use that on anything. But I like a bunch of them. Because when early on started studying herbs, I went to a lot of herbal schools. I went to Emerson, I went to Dominion, I went to Australian Herbal College, I went to 2 or 3 others. Whether they were good or not, it wasn't important. I was after knowledge and information. And when you go to schools, you should have some idea yourself about this, because sometimes you're fed misinformation from any school. I mean, look at the medical schools. They're fed a ton of misinformation. And look at the money these poor students pay to go through it. So that's what I'm saying. When everybody understands the level they're supposed to be at, they get rid of this narcissistic crap, and they realize that I'm at this level, I know this about health, I know this about health, I don't understand this, but, and everybody get with that, then there won't be so many deaths out there. You didn't ask me how many people I've killed in 4 years of this. How many people have we saved? Can't count them. I have no idea. Good stuff. Michael Terrace, I like his stuff. Even he's got East-West. I like that. I like a little look at the Chinese stuff a little bit. I don't use a lot of that, but I do know about them. I like the Ayurvedic. I like Indian herbs as well. There's some nice, powerful herbs. I think every country's got some great herbs. Every country can contribute great herbs to this tremendous repertoire of the pharmacopoeia of botanicals. Just incredible stuff. I think this planet should be brother and sister. We use the herbs from the rainforest. Graviola. Oh, no, the FDA doesn't like graviola. I did. So it's like I put it in all my formulas. And that's the sort of thing that's out there. We're seeing these pseudo-protection agencies who really work for pharmaceutical companies, who are in charge of overseeing the people's supplements and stuff, come down on something they don't know nothing about. And yet they allow all these fatal event pharmaceuticals out there. Something wrong with this picture? Something's very wrong with this picture. And unless this stuff is exposed, people just buy into this. And today, people keep buying into the pharmaceutical world. And it's a world of some. I was just listening before I came to Fox News and listening to what's going on out there in the pharmaceutical commercial. And it's saying, well, there's fatal events to this. You got to be careful. It's like, whoa. But I also like Dr. Christopher's book. Very, very good book. I like to really research that one. There's been a lot. My Little Herb book, that's a good one. Oh my God, I've got so many older books. I mean, I'm plastered with books. I don't know if you've seen my shelves here, but my wall's full of shelves here with books, full of shelves there with books, full of books behind there. I've had quite a library in my life, but oh my God, jeez. Let me think about that more, and sometime I'll put that up. Let me think about that more. Because there isn't just one good herb book. And I don't want to write an herb book. But I like to look what everybody says about them. My experiences with them now, I can say that. But in the beginning, I had to believe what I was reading. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody, or what I was reading, was the same or had a silver cord running through everybody's work. Because some people know a little more about herbs than others, and then some people just write copycat herb books. So they're writing a book, but it mimics someone else's book. I don't like copycatters. Come on, everybody can do their own. You're your own unique being. So you write with your own unique experiences. But it's an incredible world of herbs, are just an incredible world. And there's a lot of good herbal colleges. Dominion's a really good herbal college. There's smaller ones like the Australian Herbal College. There's a lot of these herbal colleges that have popped up. Do you really want to go and say, what right do you have to be in herbal school? Well, I'll say that to Harvard and stuff. What right do you have to be in medical school? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a free world. If someone wants to start a school and they have good academics and you like those academics, take it. Who cares? Who cares? I can't, I remember this Brent Ridge this goes way back. I'll just look this up. I was going way back in Brent Ridge Forest School. This goes way back. Whether these places become paper mills, I have no clue. How do you do anything like that? All universities give away degrees, huh, guys. But we don't consider the honorary things as anything. But some of these schools truly don't offer a lot for what they give you in degrees. That's for sure. A naturopathic degree is a lot less involved than a medical degree, unless you go to Bastyr or Southwest, which is 4 years, 9 months, which is the academics of that. So 4 years, 9 months, it's like, okay, but let me teach you in a weekend or over a week class how to cure anything. I've always said that. Come on down to school and let me in a week show you how to cure anything. Is that embarrassing for universities that are into the health field? If I could teach you guys over YouTube channels how to cure anything, and yet you go to all these schools, get your physicians there, your MDs and your doctorates, and you can't cure anything, what good was it? Yeah, I prefer I can help you in a week cure anything. Don't you? Who said you have to spend half your life going to school? You go 12 years to high school. Hope that cuts way down on people because you're trapped for 12 years. And then you go to college, and now they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it like you have to be some academic wizard to have a doctorate degree. And it's like by then you're so dumbed down, you're so unawake, it's not even funny. And your ego has been built up like these people beyond belief. So it's just like that's the sort of thing that's out there. And we have to break through that. And that's what's going on. If you have noticed, God is breaking all this negativity and all this stuff up so people realize you have the answers, each and every one of you. And each and every one of you can learn a little bit how to eat proper and how to take a few herbs. And you got your wellness journey. Look at that one, just that one testimonial right there. That's COPD. 23 years on steroids. Do you know what that does to a person? 23 years on steroids, what it does to your adrenal glands? She brought herself out of that. And that's what I'm talking about. She's just the tip of the iceberg of how many people are doing that all over the place. I read you one testimonial where the guy got rid of his leukemia in 8 weeks. But you didn't reference that. But that was a testimonial from someone out there. We don't tell somebody to write us in a testimonial like that. Are you kidding? If you think I'm that way, then you're on the wrong site. I'm a God man, my guys. I'm only about truth. Doesn't matter. And this idea that one has to spend years and years and years and years around knowledge from other people that don't know how to cure, learning their way of not curing. I don't know. I see so many poor people whom I would love to have. Oh, don't you? This is where I'm at. I see all these movie stars. I see all these wealthy people, and I hate to say it. I don't know. I have some great friends that are very wealthy. They're just great beings. But there's so many people suffering and so few helping. There's so many suffering out there, it's not even funny. Who cares about paper money? Who cares about money? What are you going to do with it? Who cares what you drive? If you're a God person, who cares? Your sukkah is already here. You're already sukkah'd up. I need nothing. Just give me a little food and a little shelter. Who cares? Because you have a far greater experience. You play with these mundane things like school on planet Earth, and you're worried about a school on planet Earth. Oh, I suggest you open your consciousness to the massive and enormousness of creation. Might have more fun instead of being trolls. Yeah, I know, I'm with you on that. Whom would love to help, but they are too poor. There is no way they can afford yours. Well, here's the thing. You get someone that's really hurting like that, we might have someone that donate. Once in a while, some lovely soul sends us $100. One lady sent us $5,000 here, and it was like, we call it, you sure you wrote that right? You sure you want to do this? Because we've never had anything like that. So she helped a ton of people because we go 100%. Comes in, goes out. Plus, because we donate from the company constantly. If someone comes to me and asks, I'm going to send you something. So I'm a lush kind of that way. But that's why we still drive Ford trucks and stuff like that, not Mercedes and stuff like that. Nor would I ever. That's I don't think that way. But there's teas, and you got to eat right. So you have to try to find a way for them to eat raw, even though raw is expensive kind of today, but there's also meats are expensive today. So if they just get rid of all the other stuff and go into the fruits and the berries and stuff, and my God, there's got to be people that'll help, in that way. And the herbs, they can go to teas and stuff like that. Sometimes the shipment gets a bottle broken, the labels get messed up, they give us the whole box, we give that whole thing away. Oh yeah, oh no, we try to, anything we can to give away, we do. Because there's a lot of hurting people out there. It gets me, boy. I tell you, I can't talk about it too much. I grow big gardens every year and could plant herbs too. Absolutely. There's poke and dandelions everywhere, and that's a dandelion, an incredible herb. Poke root, incredible herb. I mean, this is it's like bloodroot. And one lad on the two was doing too much. Excuse me. You don't do blood and poke root too much because it's toxic. But at low dosages, it busts tumors. Look at bloodroot. Especially with zinc chloride added, pull that tumor right out of your body and heal it right behind it. I mean, better than going to a surgeon. And if that don't work, you then can go to a surgeon. There are certain protocols that are better first. If you need a surgeon, go to a surgeon, no question. But you want to try everything you need to do before then, because sometimes when they're in, some things are removed that shouldn't be. In particular, lymph nodes, that if they only knew. I had a talk with a medical doctor in my office yesterday about that a little bit. His wife was in here with problems, and we were fixing her up, and he was a good guy. He doesn't belong to the AMA anymore, he said, and he's kind of pulling back from that field. And it's like, you have to understand a lot more about cause and effect. A lot more of the interaction of chemistry and the food you're eating, because to deny that chemistry has any effect upon your body that you're eating is just like, that's insanity right there. Then you start asking, what school did you go to? This guy's got gardens and everything else. Oh, look at that. You know what I need? Oh, here, they're in Indiana. Absolutely have poke and dandelion. My dad had me pull dandelion out of the yard, and I was eating the flowers while I was doing it. And another thing you can eat up in Indiana and other places is sassafras. We used to eat the tender sassafras leaves. They're really good. And of course, sassafras tea. Oh my God, I love fresh sassafras tea. Sassafras, a big blood purifier. Oh, the FDA at one time didn't like sassafras. Well, what do you guys like? Oh, I guess you like chemotherapy and all the good stuff that rots your guts and burns you to death. Those are the hardcore people. I like the simple things like poke, dandelion, sassafras. We used to eat daisy flowers too. Loves you loves you not. She loves you not. I love that yellow center. Yeah, Indiana. Hoosier people. I eat poke early in the year and know when there is milk up in it will make you sick. Sure, more than are dangerous. Absolutely. I just want to help the poor souls get well. Wild Willie. I love that name. Well, Wild Willie, what we need is channels like yourself where people can go to, the growers, and buy your herbs dried. And then they can make their own, grind them up and make their own capsules. Tincture making is an art, and the press you use is important. I like, we were using, and I'm pretty sure we're up there still, 110,000 pound press. That's a press. So if you get goodies in your jar, and you're afraid of the goodies in your jar, send it to me, because you just got some of the greatest stuff there is of that. Yeah, ours is, we're organic, we're ripe, we're raw, we're there. Oh yeah. Well, Willie, we need to, I suppose when we can get straightened around here, I would love to have someone involved in correlating between you and all the other growers out there and us getting some things going to where we can channel that to those that don't have the money. Because manufacturing is something else. you have to understand, we have to send ours through a lab that does this. And I've wanted to have my own God's Herbs lab, but I've never had the money to build it. And the FDA harasses all these labs all the time. I guarantee you, I have a lab and the FDA comes in with an attitude, they're going to be walking out on their ass. You know, I will not allow anybody like that to be around me with an attitude. You're going to check it at the door, because we've allowed that too long. And now you see what they become, a monster. A narcissistic monster that allows fatal event pharmaceuticals out there until enough people die and people bitch enough. Oh, we'll take it off the market now. And they'll come down on a good herb that's helping people. I don't think so. I think those days are just about ending. And we're turning up. We've got some good federal attorneys now, and not afraid to go after this sort of bullcrap. So I'm excited for the future. But let's see what we can do about that, Willie. Mr. Bill. Oh, let's see. This is LB. LB. Hi there, beautiful man. Hi there, beautiful soul. Love you. Loving the YouTube vids and just joined the club. Oh, thanks. Thanks. You know, the club's just for protection, guys. That's all it is. Isn't it sad? Isn't it sad that you have to protect yourself from your own world, your own society, from which you have a body? That it just shows you how low the human consciousness is sunk. But that's why we're here. We're here to bring that baby up and get people out of their miseries and stuff like that. Fun stuff. You know, can't let anybody intimidate us. That's crazy. You know, I won't let anybody stop me or intimidate me. You can say anything you want about my education. You can even have it. I don't care. I didn't learn what I learned from school. You know, I've been involved in healing people for a long time. And if you don't see that, then why are you even bothered with the site? See, that's for people that have eyes to see. Those that come in with narcissism only look for what they want to look at. Who cares? A few questions, I say. All right. This is a newbie. Is it a female or a male? Lisa. It's a female. There's a lot of good spiritual females out there, guys. Oh, my God. You know, when I was coming along, it was hard to find a good spiritual female. But it was hard to find a good spiritual male, too. To be on both sides had difficulties finding, you know, a compatible person that loved to be spiritual and eat right and stuff like that. Opposites attract. So a lot of us got stuck with opposites. But, you know, as life goes on, the opposites fade away and things happen. I don't know, but, you know. The people who you answer on your YouTube Q&A videos, are they paying clients or can anyone ask you for help, please? This is not a paying site. This is a free site from me. I'm part of the club, but I'm not. This is a free site. I will always offer my services free to you on this YouTube channel, and you will not see pop-ups, ever. I don't play games with money and crap like that. That's not what I'm here on this planet for. And I plan to leave the planet. So, you guys have your monies and narcissisms and things like that. Thank you very much. No thanks. You can ask anything you want. Even being rude if you want. I don't care. You know, people like to bring up people's education all the time, so especially in the natural health field. Especially some of us that were way back there. Way back there. So I don't really care. I've got degrees from many places. But who cares? What do I know that can help you? That can set you free? What do you know through your experiences? I know what you learn in school. I'm pretty up on all the med schools. I'm pretty up on what you get learned. I'm pretty good there. I do have a mind. I'll give you an example. I took a military test, and academically, I took chemistry, of course, and stuff like that. And this is before I entered my holistic health degrees and stuff. And I was so poor. And so I took a test at of course I went through my 2 years, and then I took this test, and academically I thought I could have done better, but I fared in the 2 percentile of intelligence on the planet. So it's not always what you know academically, is it? It's how you see and what your consciousness. The real intelligence, the real awareness. But anybody can ask here for sure. Due to personal nature of questions 6 and 7, I would be grateful if you did not say my name on YouTube. Uh-oh, too late. Too late, so I can't answer 6 or 7 for you then, honey. I can't do it. Thanks for your Xmas offers. It is a day I place the order, my end or your end. I am in Australia, and we're in Florida. We're in the States, down in the state of Florida. Do your herbs come in alcohol? They do, but they also come in glycerin, and of course in capsules and in teas. I'm super sensitive, even a few drops. What to do? Use the glycerins then, even though they need to be metabolized. You can go to the glycerins, which taste them. Compare our glycerins with other glycerin formulas. And then you can use capsules. I'm not one can take a whole handful of capsules, but I admire the people that do. But you got all the capsules too to deal with, so I don't know. Do what you can. If you're real sensitive to the alcohol stuff, check the gallbladder, liver, and see if you're okay there. But I'm very sensitive to alcohol too. Alcohol, I get a real big headache with alcohol. So I don't do alcohols very well. It's hard to take my own herbs sometimes because they are strong. This old biker guy, or I'm going, oh no! Some of our formulas are just strong. But they do the job. And that's the point. They do the job. And that's what you want. You want remedy. Whatever you have to go through, you want remedy. You can't breathe all your life. Isn't it nice to breathe again? You're damn straight it is. And I can tell you, those have been in bed with pain and hadn't got out, now is walking around enjoying life. Some ladies haven't been able to even put in pants or anything because of pain in certain places. And now they're pain free. Having a life without engaging with your love because you have extreme pain in places, and you can get rid of these things and enjoy your life. What's that? That's beautiful. That's cool stuff. But I know what you mean about sensitive to alcohol. I really do. I am on a low income, but would like to learn more how to help me decide what. Well, see, that's why these YouTube videos too, guys. That's why I do them. Is to help you guys that don't have the money. Find it to teas. Get our Heal All tea. It's a combination of kidney, lymph, everything. Then you can buy individual herbs. It's cheaper. You can see what we have. You can always do the diet and work with that way. Someday, I've been asked by a producer who said she has a lot of friends that want to donate to set up a foundation. Well, we set up the foundation, but people make promises us to all the time, so we clean them up and then we never see them again. But it's okay. I'm just here to help others, so whatever we can do and whoever we can get money in here to help others, that's what we do. Because there's so many impoverished people out there, and it's sad stuff. And a lot of people had money, but it all went to medical. And now here they link medical to your credit, so you can't pay your medical bills, of course, because they're way out of line. And then, of course, then that goes your credit, and then, of course, then you can't, and it just stifles your freedom. It's a sick system. And I'm hoping it changes, but it won't change until enough people see what you guys know and do. And then they'll change. When people realize, oh my God, they got over that. 8 weeks, this guy got rid of his leukemia. Well, at the same time, this other female high up in Hollywood got rid of hers. What was that? So they're all over the place, guys. All over the place. Fun stuff and great stuff. So we'll see. Write in here and see. They ask you to fill out a little paperwork, though, because some people, we've had people come in here with gold chains on them wanting discounts. I'm kind of one of those guys who give discounts here and there once in a while years ago just so I could make it. And people come in with gold chains asking for discounts. a Mercedes and gold chain and you want discounts, what about the souls that can't even afford them? See, that's what makes me sick. People that park at handicapped places to get out and run in. Sad. I see it all the time. God. Real love for your fellow man, huh? I do just need to watch a lot of your YouTube, and that'll piece it all together for you. There is a site I tried to put together for one of these videos for protocols. But even if you just use the Fab 4 or 5, meaning your kidneys, your adrenals, your GI tract, maybe your endocrine glands, maybe a parasitum or something, just kind of basic stuff. If you can pull together for the first kit, it's a deworming kit as well. It's kind of like opening everything up. If you can do that first kit and then kind of get an idea of what you need to work on, read your eyes. We try to teach you on YouTube how to read your eyes. We'll get better at that, but we also have a class to teach it too. So that's how I sustain myself a little. Not through this. I sustain myself through my classes. But I have to have some way to live, I'm not involved in the club too much. I am slowly recovering from CFS. Had it 18 years, chronic fatigue syndrome. So, when you're looking at that, your chronic fatigue syndrome, I want you to look at your adrenal glands, number 1, thyroid, number 2, heavy candida, number 3. All right? All 3 of those play a major role in chronic fatigue syndromes. All right, so the adrenals, number 1, always number 1. Number 2, thyroid. Number 3, candida, overgrowth. Heavy fungal problems. And those are a direct bump from the adrenal glands. But all of those can give you extreme fatigue, lethargy, lack of being able to think, all that stuff. 6 and 7 I can't read. Okay. I may work with one of your practitioners once I understand things a bit better. Yep. I mean, we're not expensive. We're not here to rape anybody. We're out there to get you better. If I can afford it, on welfare, no savings or health insurance. Well, like I said, we offer some help, and there's others out there that could, and so we'll just see how all that culminates. And you put it out to the universe, and so contact the staff here and see if they can put you together something, or if you're especially on Medicare or welfare or something like Medicaid, we definitely try our best. Do you have any general suggestions? Please be on. 100% non-processed, about 95% for now. A good deal. 100% vegan, and there, except honey. As much raw as I can digest. Ooh, interesting thought there. About 80% now. Go to your fruits, berries, and melons. Stick yourself up. Keep higher. Keep higher. Get your raw. Get your raw down. When you're comfortable, get rid of the salads. Maybe exchange it for green drinks. Or get rid of your salads and stay with the veggie greens or your veggie fruits like your cucumbers and avocados. And then let those off down the road. You'll see the difference at each bump. Get familiar how you feel at each level. See how it feels on you. Go to the next level. See how you feel. Oh, go to the next level. And you will see an increased rise at each level of energy, strength. But you can start out with whole raw with salads and stuff. But your goal is to get to the fruits, berries, and melons. That's the deeper detox. Couple that with some water fasting. Couple that with some grape fasting. Couple that with maybe some dry fasting and stuff. You're at about the top of the heap, brother. It's just a matter of time then. You use the right herbs for the right tissues. Go after those kidneys, adrenals. You want that lymphatic filtration going. That way it'll pull all these acids out of your joints and your muscles and everything. Your cells then will start to rebuild because now you're in a hydrated medium where the goodies will inspire the growth and awareness of cells. And pretty soon you start seeing your body rebuild itself. Cool stuff. Neat stuff. What university or what school teaches that? None of them. None of them. Oops. That's why Pat's here. One of the reasons. We're starting our own naturopathic school because it sucks out there. And it'll be a school on naturopathy. Full bore. 4 years, 9 months. I have osteopathic friends who have been chomping at the bit to teach. So we're going to bring them in. And, of course, Pat's already went through osteopathic school. Okay, so she's a medical doctor at one level, didn't like it, now anatomy physiology professor. I mean, So we got a neat way of teaching. We've got a neat way of helping you learn. This is about learning. It isn't pass or fail or the crap that's in our educational system. This is about, do you get it? Because you can't fail our school. We won't fail you. If there's a module that you're having difficult with, we're going to contact you and have you retake it. And retake it until you get it. We're not here to send people out. Oh, you got the degree on the wall. That's not what we're about. We want that degree to mean something. We want people, when they walk into our practitioners and you see that degree on the wall, they go, I'm home. I know you know how to help me. That's why we want all LDs, all you guys that go to school to become local distributors. We want you to know as much as you can about how to help people. We back you 100%, and if you don't, get a hold of me. Because that's been my focus since the beginning. Wholesale for us is horrible. It just about sunk us many times as a company, because the profit is so small, and it's difficult. But look at what we accomplish by teaching others to become practitioners and local distributors. Look at how we can get out and help others. That's our goal. If it wasn't, we would do Richard Schultz's things. We'd pump our formulas up to $28 to $32 a bottle where they should be, and nobody gets wholesale or discounts. That's Richard Schultz. I don't rock that way, baby. She's as much organic as possible. I know, sadly, over about 10% for now. I get it. Listen, my heart goes out to each and every one of you. I get it. Let me tell you something. I've never been a rich man, ever. Let me tell you. I've lived in my offices. I've lived in RVs most of my world. So you're not talking to someone with money. Deepak Chopra, maybe Dr. Wild, maybe those guys got bucks. Not this lad. Now, I put it all back in us and tried to get out there and help. And so you're not looking at a wealthy dude, nor do I even give two hoots. I could give a care less. I don't get my happiness through Federal Reserve notes, nor gold or silver. Who cares? I mean, your sukha is your beingness, your consciousness, your camaraderie with yourself, meeting your fellow man. And beings, because it isn't just fellow man, meaning men and women. It is fellow beings, because there's all shapes and sizes out there if you didn't get it yet. Remember this little tidbit. There's nothing that you can imagine. There's nothing that you can imagine that does not exist somewhere. You can imagine anything that doesn't exist. Scary? You would be able to outdo God. A little light exercise daily, good idea, especially if you're not filtering well. A couple of liters of clean water a day, okay. If you notice that the water you're drinking is making you bloat up, cut back because you're too acidic, and especially for you COPD and lungers, be careful how much water you bring in, because you will have a tendency to hold water. Well, that's the one thing we don't want, especially lung cancers, where you're so acidic already interstitially and so burning that now water brings hydration, and this is part of the problem. Actually, not so much water, but the water in your fruit juices and berries and melons is going to bring ionization, hydration. But in that process, you have a little period called edema. If you don't hydrate, that edema will end up killing you through congestive heart failure and pulmonary edema and things like that. What school did I learn that from? Oh, I guess I didn't. But be careful with too much water, especially only when you're that way and you're not filtering well. Sometime in the sun daily, love it. No chemicals in personal grooming or household cleaning products. About 95% there. I never smoke or drink. I have not taken any antibiotics or vaccines for years. Good deal. I do occasionally take headache tablets a few times a year. Well, number 6, I'm not going to read these. Okay. I won't read these two then. They're not anything you guys can't hear. You guys write me much worse, but I want to honor this lady because I already told her name. But it's enough to say, keep researching, going, take it on. You're on the right road. You're eliminating right. Some people like that. Just you go at the pace you can go and the pace you can afford. Please contact us if you're having a hard time with that, sweetheart, to maybe get some help here. We do have our shelves once in a while gets herbs on them, and we love to help. We're limited too. We're limited too because we can't go down helping. I can't pronounce that. Zehra? Zehra. Wild name, boy. I love it. Love this subject. Ask your unique question. Message: female, 44 years old, lost 30 kilos with a regular diet. What do you suggest for her muscle atrophy? Eating attacks for a huge amount, which repeats every hour. Although I don't feel thirsty and I don't drink water day, and might I go to toilet. At night I go to toilet. A big amount of urine production and my mouth is very dry at night. Bad eyesight, hair loss, very loose connective tissue, wrinkles, sagging skin, and bad collagen structure, etc. Can we detox with GMO fruit? Sad. Do we have GMO fruit now? Yuck. You know what? God, bite my friggin' tongue. But if there's nothing else out there, man's just got to catch this quality in the heart thing and know that when I put something out there to another fellow being, I'm putting it out to God. Do I want to put an inferior product? Why am I mutating things? Why don't I learn how nature grows and use nature to accentuate nature? You can kick nature so far up. Like I'm saying, I'm having a hard time cutting down my mother's milk by nature for infants because it's just, even the fruits are nutritious. Everything's so nutritious. And when you look at the quality of mother's milk, it's just not there. That's why it's important to get onto fruits and berries with your children, because you're introducing a lot better chemistry and stuff than just mother's milk. No insult intended. It's just used for a short period of time. The colostrum's a short period, everything's short period. And when you're older after that, it becomes extremely mucus forming. And when your baby starts getting colicky and mucus, boy, you want to pull off the milk or you're filling your baby full of tumor stuff, mucus stuff, and stuff like that, and it's just horrible. So the first thing we know that this lady is, she's losing weight and she's eating a lot. So when you eat a lot and you're losing weight, you've got a couple of things going on there, right? Well, the first thing might sound gross, but you could have worms. You could have tapeworms and stuff. You could. Right? You could have, of course, is hyperthyroidism. If you have that, you're pretty much going to know that because your heart rate's going to be higher than normal. You're going to have a little bit buggier eyes, that sort of thing, right? However, we do know her thyroid is involved because of the other stuff she mentioned, correct? All right, we'll get there. Now, the most common problem, and if you read down with her other problems, it kind of fits in with malabsorption. And you can eat all you want and you're just not going to gain weight or muscle because your goodies aren't getting into you. That's the more serious problem. Hyperthyroid, easy to fix. Malabsorption, not so much. So that's a bit of a problem. And what system you're going to go for with that one? Well, you're going to go, even for parasites, you're going to go to the sewer system, you're going to go to the lymphatic system, you're going to go to the kidneys. Um, huge amounts. It repeats every hour. She could be full of worms too, or he, whoever. So you always deworm everybody. You see why I think deworming everybody is appropriate. I don't care where you live, especially if you've been a meat eater in your life. I'd hate to see what the Alaskans get out of them, but you got to deworm yourself. And that'll be helpful, but you've got to go after that lymphatic system. That's very, very key. Going after that, of course, if there was any hyperthyroidism, that would get rid of that as well. But I don't think so. Here's another thought. Although I don't feel thirsty, I don't drink water day and night. I don't drink water day and night. I go to toilet. This person has a big amount of urine production and my mouth is very dry at night. You probably breathe through your mouth. You're a mouth breather. I tend to be a mouth breather sometimes. See, when you get a little stopped up. So I'm still working this crap out of me from the chlorine stuff. They were all fine. The other person can't talk right yet, but getting there. Whew. So, but you're probably a mouth breather at night and wake up with a dry mouth. The only other reason you can have a dry mouth is not good. What is it? Dehydration. Well, that would explain malabsorption, because by the time you're malabsorbed, you're systemically involved. So the more acidic your mouth is and gums are, the drier it'll be. It's just the way it is. And dry eyes, all of this stuff. Caution. But look at all this other stuff. Bad eyesight, hair loss. So we know that this person is heavily backed up in the lymph system in the brain. She's not getting rid, the metabolitic waste of the head. So her lymphatic or glymphatic system, either one is working. And so, might want to look at your spinal column, make sure it's straight, do your neurolymphatic points down your back, candle your ears, start popping everything out, get yourself sweating. Because look at this. Very loose connective tissue. You guys know that already, because I heard a bunch of you already saying, parathyroid, parathyroid. You guys are smart. Very, very. What school taught that out there? There's not one of them. So, look at that. Wrinkles, sagging skin, and bad collagen structure. So, we have to determine whether this person has a pituitary weakness on top of that parathyroid. Remember, that's our only little glitch. Is this down by themselves, or is this baby helping them to come down? Well, you got hair loss. So, that starts to give a little eyebrow. What else gives an eyebrow that there's some colon involvement? Malabsorption. So now we're starting to see malabsorption. We're starting to see these problems. We might look a little more at those eyes of yours and make sure you don't have a pituitary weakness that's sitting down on the parathyroid. That way we can address the pituitary and the parathyroid. Parathyroid, I'm always going to address with glandulars, because you got 4 of them, and I'm going to address the pituitary with herbs. I can use a pituitary glandular, but boy, that sends your pituitary humming. Now, I would suggest that this probably has not hyperthyroid at all, that it's probably hypothyroidism. You could possibly have hyperthyroidism and hypoparathyroidism. Possible, I suppose. Different hormones, different part of the pituitary perhaps. So it's possible. I mean, anything like that's possible. But it's enough to say bad eyesight, cerebellum, mucus, all of this stuff. Use the eye wash internally, topically, to help that better. Dry mouth, make sure you're not breathing through your mouth. That means your sinuses are blocked. Hair loss, wrinkles and stuff. You got to fix your parathyroid gland, because that is a big sign of other depression, petechia, bruising easy. How about aneurysms? That's part of what this brings. Herniations. From your hernias in the esophagus to your hernias in the groin, all over. Things will herniate, things will prolapse down. It'll make women's uteruses sit down on the bladder, then the bladder comes out. I mean, it can be a nightmare. So you want to go after your body here big time, lymphatically speaking. because that's the system that suppresses all these things. That's all the mucus, all the congestion, all the acids and the dehydration. That is the lymph, all the pain. You go after that system, all of this stuff will clean itself up. You'll tone, your skin will tone and tighten. If you have spider veins or varicose veins, they'll pull in. Vital. And if they don't, you're not doing it. You're not doing the program right, because they pull in on everybody. Everybody tones and tightens. Some are so chronic it takes a while, no question. Now look at the road Hildy's been on, for those of you that know Hildy. I mean, amazing. She's taking it over the top sometimes, but look at where she was and look at where she is. And finally, she's seeing the beauty of her body coming in to play, because for years she's been working on it and falling and hurting and breaking, and now she's coming out of it, and you see the work and the beauty. Good job. She put the effort into it. She's making it happen for herself, like each and every one of you are working and making it happen for yourself. Who else? Your loved ones are not going to do it, unfortunately. Muscle atrophy. What cytochemistry does atrophy and decay? You can use the word cancer and you can use the word atrophy in replace of it, meaning the same thing. So what cytochemistry is responsible for that? Definitely acids. The acid cytochemistry. Look at the metabolitic waste. You don't see alkalis sprung off the cribs and methylations and all these different cycles. You don't see any of alkalis popping off. You see acids popping off. All down through the cycles, acids pop off, including what we love is what we call ascorbic acid. Just pops off the cycle. CoQ10 pops off the cycle. So, if you want to get rid of muscle atrophy, and this is just another finger to malabsorption, another finger to acidosis, another finger to the lymphatic system's down, the kidneys are down, the adrenals are down. It's just another finger to this. And this person has all these problems. But all these problems can be washed away and gotten rid of. And a lot of you have already done this many times. So you just have to get the right focus and understand the lymphatic system, get on the right protocols, look up the protocol thing, get on the fruits, berries, and melons, and correct that. But you can then think about the parathyroid. This is the case where you got to think about the parathyroid. That's why you might want us to write you a 14-week protocol, or have Marcy, Pat, or Attila get you in for a month or something and set your feet on the right path, telling them everything they got going on. You have to fill out our questionnaires and stuff, and they'll show you how to tone and tighten. But remember, if the pituitary's down, then there can be a whole bunch of other things going down with it. The female or males can go down. All kinds of things can go down. So, how are we doing with time? Well, we almost. Let's sneak another one in. Thanks, Chris or Drew. I can read them better. They're readable. Sometimes they come in so small, they're hard to read. Because these lights, I have these friggin' fluorescent lights. I've given everybody else those LEDs when we can afford them, so maybe someday I'll get my LEDs in here. Dear Morse, that's M-O-R-S-E, I believe in the fruit and start my day with it. Yeah. But at night I get so hungry for something heavy. Nighttime is the most difficult time. I've said that before. You know, when darkness sets in, fear sets in. People are afraid of the dark a lot. They're unsure what that has to offer them. Loneliness can set in at those times. Cold sets in sometimes. And we're polarized also at the family table at night. We get together. We're out from the fields of farming or wherever you work, in radio or wherever. You sit down to your meal with your family. So it's emotionally charged. And of course, you're growing up with mom's foods and all the emotional ups and downs of families and stuff, and charged with the foods and stuff, and it sets into your beingness. Some people literally have to pry themselves away from that, knowing that they're suffering and they need to get well, but they can't get away. Kill your parasites too. That makes a big difference. Your cells will unlearn that, unlearn all that these habitual type of eatings, and they'll demand the raw. But if you have to do that, do a soup, maybe a vegetable soup, and drain the veggies out of it, and suck down the soup for the warmth and the chemistry of it. You can do a salad. Guacamole to me is heavy. So if I'm using a cucumber with guacamole, I love it. I've had a lot of it this last couple of weeks, but it's heavy for me. I'm so used to juicy fruits. I love to stay light. I love to feel light. I love to stay light. But, once in a while I do like my little dish of cooked veggies too. I sometimes got to have some cooked veggies. So I like cooked cabbage. There's sulfur right there. Green beans with onions in them. Corn on the cob. Big beefsteak tomatoes. I mean, that's what I was raised on. So that's kind of, mashed tatties with all the milk and nasty stuff in it. Oh. Yeah, I get it. Totally. I don't have money to waste on herbs when I'm not really digging in with diet. It's a good way of looking at that. And I tell you, I respect that. If you don't have the money, don't dig in with the herbs if you're not going to do the diet. I'll tell you, I have to kind of agree with this person. But on the other hand, if you're suffering and you just can't get your act together with the diet, you can halfway do it, then do the herbs if you can afford it, and it'll help you immensely. But if you can't do the diet at all, maybe you ought to just use that as hang time, and then when you get focused with the diet, use the herbs with it. Because I like them both together. I just don't like to do one or the other. I find that, and some of you have commented that they've done the fruits and the berries, but they just can't seem to get over certain levels. That's where the herbs come in. That's why I use them, because I felt even 30, 40 years ago when I was trying to get the herbs out and stuff, it just, people had that problem. But do the diet and add some herbs if you can. If you can't do the diet, I'm not opposed to taking the herbs, anything to help you, but I don't mind your thought here. But I brought a bunch of organic herbs for kidneys. A good idea. He bought a bunch of herbs, or she, for William. Organic herbs for kidneys and parasites, using your book as a guide. My question is, how is it best to utilize them? I'm making teas and basically just drinking that instead of water. I like that idea. Because now you're drinking water with a twist. Like that idea. Matter of fact, if you're going to use these herbs like that, try to get distilled water, not in plastic. If you can make your distilled water or our water, you'll pull all those goodies from those herbs right into that water, and you'll have a better kick with it. If you use a spring water, which I prefer in just drinking healthy, it's full of chemistry, so you're not going to get a lot of diffusion that way. You're going to get better diffusion if you have an empty water, where diffusion is where you have a bunch of chemistry on this side, and on this side you have very little chemistry. You're going to have chemistry rushing in to find a homeostasis. That's diffusion. Osmosis is the opposite, where you have a heavy, dense area of chemistry, but you're osmoting, you're pulling generally a solvent like water into that area to help break it up. And that's what you see in edema, where you have water moving into these higher density, stagnant areas of acids to help because the universal solvent, remember, to help give some buffer and maybe some breakup to that. The problem with that is when the route of the kidneys aren't filtering, the edema doesn't anywhere. It's a scary safety mechanism, because then again you can go into congestive heart failure, pulmonary edema, all the other things. That's not good. And that's what happens with chlorine burning too. You go into edema because it's such a burn that your lungs fill up with water, your heart can fill up with water. And that's what happened to the person with me. She went into atrial fibrillation. Ugh, horrible. With tachycardia, 200 beats a minute. Couldn't breathe because it wasn't, horrible stuff. Horrible stuff. So you look at my formulas and see which herbs are in for kidneys, which herbs are lymphatic herbs. There's plenty of good books out there, but then there could be a lot better herb books. Matter of fact, you guys will probably write better herb books than they were ever written, because you guys are using the herbs. You can testify to them. And if you want to really get down to it, go to your individual herbs. I'm a formula kind of guy, because if I'm going to use individual herbs, okay, I'm going to use a dropper full of dandelion. But if I make a formula where I bring all the friends together, see, bunches of us can do a lot more on this planet than one. Isn't that true? See, they like to get rid of the one, but they can't get rid of the multitudes. That's who elects them and puts them in office. Oh no, you can use it against them, their very narcissism. But that's what I would like to do, because you want to realize what systems you're going after. When you take this on and you want to get well, you have to understand the lymphatic system. Going into this without understanding that, to me, is going into it blind, and I don't like to go into things too blind, because then you just bump around like a leaf blowing in the wind. So you want to go into this with some awareness. Well, there's plenty of us that have had years of learning awareness. We didn't learn everything at school. Jesus criminy. Amazing. And I can tell you this, most medical doctors don't either. I've been from the day they graduated to the day they got years involved, and I've seen them grow too. We all grow in our fields. Even you guys grow in your fields, whatever field it is. You're hired to run a big machine. You go in there, it's like, oh, okay, and you learn how to run it. Or you're responsible for running a whole corporation, or whatever it is you do. I mean, tell you, I got hired one time, and I was up against a college grad, and I'd been in the Air Force as a draftsman, and map making, and all that implies when you order anything from the military. Well, it has to, even a nut. If our engineering department would order a bolt and a nut, I had to draw it up for Congress, and it had to be submitted. A drawing of it with the actual size had to be submitted with it. And of course, I see in the military where spending is out of control too. I see my side too. I had a yearly, what do you call it? But like not a quota, but X amount of money for our yearly. But I had so much drafting supplies, and that my engineer, the boss, was telling me, "Oh, you got to order. We won't get this money each year, and if we don't spend it this year, they'll take it off of next year." And I'm going, I don't need any of this stuff. I've got so much paper and pens and pencils and rulers. I got so much stuff. I'm taking it home now. He said, "I don't care." Saw that firsthand in engineering, and it's some of that can be turned around. Some of the spending can be turned around and put in nice jets. We were a YouTube base, to make some nice planes. Okay. Does the tea need to be hot, or can I soak them in room temperature water? Well, if you want to do it right, do it the sun tea way. Put all that in some distilled water and sit it in the sun. And if you can get a green jar, whoo-hoo, now, baby, you got a tea. And sip the tea off and on. You can make it into an iced tea or drink it hot. Who cares? Okay, I put it in the refrigerator and sip on it all day long. Especially those like the young man we're talking about that severely burned his stomach with opioids. This is serious. He can't even have it. Panic attacks are constant. And so it's scary stuff. He ends up in the hospital a lot. He's got to heal that. You don't want to invoke stomach acids when you already burnt yourself with acid aspirins and stuff. And, of course, all the more powerful Darvocets and stuff like that. It'll fry your stomach up. That's why they always scared me, because of what they do to your stomach. Well, your stomach is full of nerves. And, of course, the nerve in the ganglia of the autonomic. So that's serious stuff. And no one talks about that stuff. So, that's when you want to sip teas and herbs that heal, comfrey and marshmallow, slippery elm, things that heal tissue. comfrey is called knit bone. So never be afraid of what the FDA doesn't like. Matter of fact, look at what the FDA doesn't like, and you'll find some of the better herbs. I mean, it's just so sick. Oh, I got to kind of run here. Dang. Oh, but so let's read this one. I got so many here. I want to read them all. Dang it. So this is, I won't mention the name. Can I just say this is from V? Can't pronounce the name, but we'll call it V. Veronique. Veronique? Anyway, country boy. I'll pull my country boy syndrome. Oh, I didn't go to school, so that's okay. All right, so this, having an argument with people about how I don't believe in pharmaceutical medications. Well, isn't it sad that you have to have an argument about it with somebody? But you know what I say? If they don't buy into it, take your pharmaceuticals all you want. It's okay. You don't have to believe me. I'll take God's natural products, which does not have the blowback your pharmaceuticals do, and hope you don't take one that'll kill you. You know, it's the sort of thing is, don't try to convince people that can't be convinced. It'll waste your time and energy, and it doesn't matter anyway. If they can't be convinced, who cares anyway? You want to take pharmaceuticals, you take pharmaceuticals, all you want. It's up to you. If you think you're trying to get cured or a remedy, maybe you ought to rethink that, because there is none. And at best, they control symptomology. At best. But generally with a kick. Look at what steroids do to you. Oh, it can make your skin look good for temporarily, or the pain go away temporarily, right, guys? But you young guys and gals that deal with a lot of steroids for rosacea and acne and all the other skin issues, look what it did to you. Look at the Accutanes. Look what all these pharmaceuticals did to you guys. Vomitous. But if you got someone that loves pharmaceuticals and medical doctors, that's their right. Totally right. And let them succumb to that. And unfortunately, even if it's your mate, that's the problem with this. Opposites attract in magnetism, you know. And I don't know what to say about it. But you keep yourself from their poisoning. You keep yourself with what you know to be true. You keep truth at the forefront of your tenacity and strength, and it'll always be there to protect you, because they can't prove pharmaceuticals help them any more than suppress symptoms. And just turn on the TV and listen to the side effects. Holy crap. And ask yourself, is it worth possible fatal or extreme harm to your organs and glands for controlling a symptom where you can eat what you want? Or is it better to change what you eat, feel much better, get rid of all pain and suffering, have vitality, have awareness, and your love opens up and you have a beautiful life? I'll take that one over the other one. Thank you very much. I never try to convince anybody. As soon as I see a medical doctor I'm talking to or someone start to fade, see ya. Not wasting my time on you. Why should I waste my time on you? There's plenty of people that need help. And that's the people we're interested in, is helping those that are willing to strap it on and ride it. We're glad to help you. We're teaching you why. So what we're showing you the chemistry of it. We're showing you the physics of it. We're showing you the physiology of it. We're showing you the anatomy of it. Try to disprove it. You're going to have to come up with some strong people here that have full bore awareness. Even medical doctors can't come up against her. Funny. She teaches them. She used green tea. Wrong, cause it overstimulates the adrenal glands. Yeah. You want to really get into the herb side of that. Even though I guess you could call green tea an herb, but you really want to get into, can we use the word medicinal? But yeah, maybe that. Now get some herb books, plenty on the market, get a bunch of them, and cross-reference. Cross-reference. Never believe in one book. Cross-reference. That's what I like to do. That way you get a well-rounded knowledge of who sees what. Someone sees a little something different. See if you can find that somewhere else in the literature. The sad thing is there's PDRs now on herbs. And the sad thing about PDRs on herbs, it's just full of crap. It's so medical. I've got a PDR on herbs now. And then, since they started getting it, the first PDR came out, just sucked bad. Because they're trying to treat symptoms with herbs and say they just don't have any effect on diseases. Of course they don't. They're not meant to. Matter of fact, medical doctors are now going back and playing with vitamins and minerals again, orthomolecular supplementation. Oh, excuse me. Matter of fact, that's all Townsend Letters about, is orthomolecular supplementation. But through those studies and stuff, you can learn some good stuff, you know. But you treat, you don't cure. And yeah, green tea wouldn't be appropriate, but you want to get on the kidney herbs, you want to get on the herbs for the lymphatic system, herbs for the endocrine glands, herbs that'll clean out the bowels. But formulas, you get good formulas, and you've got actions that'll love you and clean you, won't hurt you. You know, some people might be a little advanced, and so you have to go slower. You know, those that are riddled with pain. When you get in the chronic levels, even fruit can cause you pain, because as you start pulling, astringing, you're going to feel that. You can. Your skin can split open with all kinds of acids coming out, and stink and smell, necroticism coming from your body. Look at the people that tongue and they smell necrotic tissue in their mouth. You got to get that out of you. Is it any wonder cells live around this that don't perform well? I don't think that's a no-brainer. That's a total no-brainer, guys. When your cells are full of mucus and decay, how do you expect them to act? You'd expect them to mutate? Yeah, big time. But people that get lost in disease concepts can't get out of that trap and ask a few questions. Why? I love the big word why. And you want to take why till you can't take it anymore, till you can't find another answer anywhere, and see what you get. Etc. They were obviously not working properly if his son had this bacteria. I mean, only in the sense lymphatic sewage breeds bacterium to help clean it like a septic tank. But if we blame the bacteria, see, this is the problem. Medical's too busy trying to be involved in pathology or from parasitic stuff and stuff like this. And it's like, okay, the bacteria world gets beat up really bad. What happens when you get rid of your bacteria in your body? RA, lupus, Lyme's, all the real bad chronic acidosis. You need those boys. That's what bacteria does, is break down proteins and stuff. You got bacteria to break down iron. I mean, we need nature. You know, man has just ostracized himself from the very nectar that he requires to survive here, physically. He pass away, and now the woman is accused at the criminal offense. What could do better? Wow. Holy crap. She used green tea wrong because it overstimulates the adrenal gland, etc. They were obviously not working properly if his son had this bacteria. He passed away, and now the woman is accused at the criminal offense. What she could do better. I don't know the story behind this one, but you know, you can't blame anybody for anything. Women are the caregivers of the planet. They deserve the right to help their families to get well. They should never be ostracized for not using pharmaceuticals. If that's what I'm reading into this, I'm not sure totally what I'm reading into this. But that's where the problem is. That's the power that these friggin' lunatics that call themselves, forgive me, but you get me out of balance a little bit, they call themselves medical doctors that go after people that don't like pharmaceuticals and stuff, who kill people. So I don't know how to read into this, but all I got to say, you've got some countries out there that their governments just don't know any better. And that's who the World Bank, the Rockefellers particularly, those people like to brainwash. Half of what you see going on in America is globalism. Is those people that thought globalism had some a spiritual thing to it. Yeah, ran by the World Bank? I don't think so. Especially with most of the population has to be terminated to fit into their agenda. I don't think it's a spiritual thing. A spiritual thing is teaching people how to take responsibility for their own actions. A spiritual being would be there to extend a hand to help, not to do for. Those that do for never go anywhere. And that's very true spiritually. If you get a guru that thinks they're going to do this for you and you just let this guru open you up spiritually and everything, think again. The guru then can't open himself up or herself up. That's the one thing a good spiritual being or master won't do. They might give you some experiences. They might take us to some places to bring home a point or two. But they'll let the light and the sound teach you itself. And they'll walk by you and give you a good hug. I gotta run, guys. I love you guys. Yeah, interesting out there in the world today. But without you, oh, what a cold place. You guys are the light of God everywhere you're out there. I see you coming in. I see the light in your eyes. I see the love coming out of your hearts. And we have to give the world a big heart, don't we? A big heart. That I love that guy. You know. Just need to start giving everybody, divine love. But there are some people not ready for it. And don't bring yourself down. If you have friends, sometimes your friends might have to change. Your loved ones might have to change. Don't be upset with that. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to express yourself at higher levels. You're allowed to get your bodies healthy. It's those people that are stuck, not you. You're the ones freeing yourself. Never feel bad about that. It's difficult for trapped souls down here to free themselves. That's why you're here. Love you all. Divine love to all. Even the trolls. Even the people that don't like schools and stuff like that. Who cares? We love you anyway. Because it just doesn't matter, does it? Remember that? Which movie was that from? It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And who was the star that did that one?